Your jaw tightens as the phone vibrates again, a cue ball ricocheting inside your ribs. Traffic lurches, the inbox dings, a voice from the other room asks a simple question that lands like a demand. Your shoulders creep toward your ears. The air feels thinner even though the window is open. You scan for exits, for the next thing to fix, for a sentence that will make everyone calm down, but your own pulse is the loudest thing in the room. Your thoughts sprint without your permission, and your mouth follows a half-beat later. Sound familiar? Here's the promise. Stillness is not the absence of noise. It's your ability to hold the steering wheel of your nervous system for 60 deliberate seconds. In this chapter, you'll learn to flip the power of stillness switch, clear, science-backed moves that pull blood back to your thinking brain, soften the body, and give you choice. 1 minute, your minute. Imagine this, you're in an elevator that stalls between floors. For a second, your stomach drops. You feel heat in your cheeks, your breath snagging at the top of your chest. Then your prefrontal cortex, your wise captain, goes dim while the amygdala slaps the big red alarm. That alarm is not the enemy, it's your smoke detector. The trouble begins when you start arguing with the beeping instead of opening a window. Stillness begins with the window. The fastest window you have is the exhale. A longer exhale tells the vagus nerve, we are safe enough, and the body dials the siren down so your captain can come back to the bridge. You'll use a simple framework called the Stillness Triangle: breath, body, brief. Breath changes chemistry. Body changes posture and muscle tone. Brief changes the story your reticular activating system is scanning for. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a triangle that fits in a single minute anywhere. Think of it like plugging in a dying phone. You don't need 100% charge to make the call. You need a few percent and a quiet corner. You can build that corner inside your skin. Right now, feel your tongue in your mouth and let it drop from the roof to the floor. Notice the micro-release at the base of your skull. Let your eyes soften their focus as if you're looking past the words in front of you. Draw an easy inhale through the nose for a count of 4, hold for 4, and then pour the air out for 6. The last 2 counts are where the switch flips. Just 3 cycles. That's the breath side. Even as you read, there's a tiny weight shift in your pelvis. Your chair seems to rise to meet you. The room is the same. Your internal weather changes first. Now the body side. You'll use what I call the anchor line. Sit or stand and let your weight drop straight down through your heels. Imagine gravity as a rope running through your spine into the floor. Without changing your spine, move your shoulder blades 1 millimeter back and down, like sliding a book into a shelf. That micro-posture signals, not prey. The amygdala relaxes when the body stops acting hunted. This isn't power posing, it's nervous system literacy. Predators don't hunch and gulp. Predators breathe slow and see far. You just gave your brain the message it was begging to hear. For the brief side, we use the 2-word frame, safe enough. Not perfectly safe, safe enough to choose. Your RAS will now search the environment for cues that support safe enough instead of unsafe in every direction. Language steers attention. Attention is fuel. Whisper those 2 words in your mind at the bottom of an exhale. Watch the field widen by an inch. In a fluorescent conference room, Kayla felt her face heat as the client dismissed 3 months of work with a shrug. Her heart slammed, her throat narrowed. She heard her own voice about to burst. Under the table, she pressed her heels into the carpet and did 1 round of 4-4-6. Her eyes found the far corner of the room, a soft gaze across the glass. Safe enough, she told herself. The impulse to argue softened. Instead, she asked, if you had to keep one piece of this proposal, which part would you keep? The room steadied. The client pointed to a paragraph. The door opened. The deal didn't turn perfect, but it stayed alive. 20 seconds of stillness bought her a better future. That's the power of stillness switch. Exhale long, anchor line, safe enough. ELASC, you can remember it as ease. In 1 minute you shift the chemistry, the posture and the story. Here's the science in human words. The long exhale nudges your vagus brake, tilting the nervous system toward parasympathetic. Blood returns to the prefrontal cortex, which runs planning, language, and empathy. The anchor posture unclenches survival signaling from proprioceptors along the spine and shoulders. The two-word brief yokes your RAS to a tractable mission. None of this is theory without practice, so we start small now. Place your palm over your sternum. Notice the temperature of your skin. Let your jaw hang as if a warm spoon were resting on your tongue. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. One more. On the second exhale, think safe enough. On the third, find the farthest sound in the room, the hum of a refrigerator, the distant traffic, a bird, and rest your awareness there for a breath. Distance tells the brain there's no immediate bite. You are not escaping, you are widening. You might worry that stillness will make you slow, that you'll be left behind while everyone else sprints and scrambles. Here's the paradox. Frenetic is not the same as fast. Scramble burns decision quality. Stillness preserves it. Athletes call it playing with time. You are going to learn to play with time in your body. For the first week, you'll run a micro drill called the 60-second set-down. Every time you transition, chair to standing, car to door, call to call, you set down your nervous system for 60 seconds with ease. You don't perform, you reset. This is not about being chill, it's about being clear. As you practice, an older pattern will try to bargain. It will say, later when there's more time. Or, this is silly, real problems need real action. That voice is not a villain, it is a guard dog you trained under pressure. Thank it. Then give it a different job. Guard dog, watch the exhale, we are still here. The dog wants a bone, your breath is the bone. Toss one, then walk through the gate. Notice how your breath behaves when you read the next sentence. You don't have to fix everything in this minute. The body loosens half a notch. Your shoulders settle. Your eyes blink slower. That half notch is the hinge on which a day can turn. Neuroplasticity is repetition under attention. 10 deliberate reps a day and the hardware updates. You don't need a monastery. You need intervals of intactness. Let's name another protocol, the 90-second weather rule. Anytime a spike hits, anger, panic, shame, you give the weather 90 seconds to pass through without feeding it a story. Sensation first, meaning later. You can even think, I'm having the sensation of heat in my face. I'm having the thought that I'm under attack. The phrase, I'm having the thought that, is like stepping out of the stream to the bank. You're still wet, but you're not drowning. This is crucial. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm inside it. In the kitchen on a Thursday night, Devon's teenager slammed a cupboard. The sound hit like a slap. Devon felt a spark in his chest, the old script loading, lecture, control, escalate. He caught the first exhale longer than usual and let his shoulder blades drop. The spark cooled to a glow. He counted to 90, noting sensations, warm ears, twitching hands, tight belly. He didn't narrate the kid as disrespectful. He narrated the weather moving through a body. After 90 seconds, he asked, "Want to tell me what the day did to you?" The conversation that followed wasn't a victory speech. It was a human bridge. 90 seconds changed the architecture of a family. As you practice, bake in sensory checkpoints. The brain loves rhythm. Every page, every doorway, every kettle boil becomes a bell. When you hear a notification, don't sprint. Seal your lips and exhale through your nose for 6 counts. Let the sigh be silent. Feel the coolness at the tip of your nose. Notice your sit bones, the weight and warmth. Call your gaze to the horizon line, even if the horizon is the top of your wall. These micro beats train your nervous system to find you. You become your own safe person. Let's talk about the fear that stillness equals passivity. There's a difference between frozen and still. Frozen is clamped, like holding your breath underwater. Still is awake, like a lake ready to reflect. You'll prove the difference with the window-widen question, the final piece of the triangle's brief. What is the smallest wise action I can take next? Not the perfect action, not the most heroic. The smallest wise action. The amygdala respects small. Small is how troops move under fire. Small gets you across the street. You will forget, you will snap. You will be halfway through a sentence you regret when you remember you meant to be different. Good, that is the moment the work counts. Interrupt mid-sentence if you have to. Give me 1 minute to answer well, then do ease. Breath, body, brief, come back. If someone rolls their eyes, let them. You're not performing calm, you're choosing clarity. A day will come when they feel the difference. There is one more framework for your pocket, the 4-room house. Front room is outer noise, emails, texts, headlines. Second room is body, weather, heart, breath, heat. Third room is meaning, stories, frames, predictions. Back room is witness, the quiet chair by the window. The goal is not to live permanently in the back room. The goal is to know the doorways. When chaos swells, you step from the front to the second room with an exhale, then peek into meaning, and if needed, sit in the witness for 3 breaths. In the witness you remember, I am the awareness, not the emotion. Then you walk back through with your answer. This is not retreat, it's reconnaissance. Set a timer for 60 seconds right now. Sit how you are, close your mouth gently, breathe through the nose, 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out. Anchor line, heels heavy, blades sliding into the shelf. 2-word brief, safe enough. Then the window-widen question, smallest wise action, repeat once more. Let your shoulders melt like candle edges. Feel the air cooler on the inhale, warmer on the out. Hear the far sound in the room. If a thought intrudes, put I'm having the thought that in front of it and let it float by. When the timer ends, notice what's different. Thought quality, tone, range of options. It won't be fireworks. It will be a door that used to be locked that now clicks open under your hand. You've been told you need to become a different kind of person before you can feel this. The truth is simpler and kinder. You already are the person who can choose a minute. You already are the room where weather moves. The practice is how you remember. Over the next chapters, you'll wire this into your mornings, your meetings, your arguments, your workouts. You'll anchor stillness to objects and times until it becomes your default posture in motion. The nervous system loves pathways. You're about to lay a path between chaos and clarity, and walk it so often it becomes a road. Your chest might feel lighter now, or your eyes less hard. If you feel nothing, that's information too. Curiosity is also stillness. Tomorrow you'll be cut off in traffic or pinged by a tense message. You won't be perfect. You will be present. When the alarm rings inside your ribs, you'll know where the switch lives, under your thumb, on the exhale, in the way your shoulder blades slide into the shelf, in the whisper, safe enough, in the smallest wise action. You'll feel the floor again and realize it's been there the whole time. You are not the storm. You are the one who watches the horizon and chooses when to set sail. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and the steering wheel is already in your hands. Morning is a decision disguised as a routine. Before the first scroll, before you open the door of everyone else's urgency, there is a small square of quiet on your floor. If you learn to stand there for 2 minutes, you change the chemistry of your entire day. This chapter installs a baseline because stillness is easiest to access when your nervous system already trusts you. Think of it like interest on a savings account. You don't notice the first deposit. After a week, the numbers begin to mean something. After a month, emergencies stop being catastrophes. They become whether you already know how to read. You'll build that baseline with a framework called the Morning Stillness Stack. 3 moves, 2 minutes, done before input. No emails, no headlines, no messages. The sequence is light, length, language. Light means step into natural light or switch on a bright, warm lamp and look toward the brightest part of the room without straining your eyes. That cues your circadian rhythm and tells the body day has begun, which steadies cortisol like a sunrise instead of a flare. Length is a long exhale set, 3 rounds of 4-4-6, pouring the breath out as if you were fogging a window. Language is a tiny script to steer your reticular activating system. Today I scan for what is workable. Your brain is a heat-seeking camera. Give it a target at the start and it will find more of it. Notice your tongue right now. Let it drop. Feel the breath slide along the roof of your mouth and fall warm on the back of your throat. The chair meets your weight like a palm. The air on your forearms is cooler than the air inside your chest. 1 inhale for 4, 1 hold for 4, exhale for 6, like you're setting a glass on a table without a sound. Whisper, workable. You have not solved your life. You have placed the steering wheel where you can reach it when the turns come. The second framework is circuit breaker walking. Every morning you take a short, slow, phone-less walk. 4 minutes if you can, 1 minute if you can't. You count 4 steps on the inhale, 4 on the hold, 6 on the exhale, and you let your eyes widen to the edges of your peripheral vision. This is not exercise. It's a conversation with your vestibular system. Your inner ears love rhythm. When your head moves and your eyes horizon, the nervous system updates its threat map. Fewer surprises predicted, fewer alarms needed. The science is simple. Rhythmic bilateral movement plus long exhale equals parasympathetic permission. The practice is simpler. Shoes on, door open, steps counted softer than a whisper. In a quiet suburb, Leela tried the stack after too many years of waking up already arguing with the day. She set her phone face down in the kitchen and stood by the window where the light pooled on the floorboards. Her jaw wanted to clench. She let the tongue fall instead. 3 rounds of 4-4-6. The word workable felt silly in her mouth, like talking to a plant. She walked to the end of the block and back, counting steps like a child learning to skip. An hour later, the first email arrived with a red exclamation mark. She felt the old heat in her neck, but it didn't own her breath. She wrote back with 1 clarifying question instead of a defensive paragraph. Nothing miraculous, just fewer sparks landing in dry grass. Why does morning matter? Cortisol naturally rises early. That's your body's wake-up call. If you meet it with doom scrolling, you braid cortisol with threat. If you meet it with light, length, and language, you braid cortisol with engagement. Your prefrontal cortex thanks you with better planning and impulse control. Your amygdala thanks you by alarming less. The difference is not mystical, it's mechanical. Neuroplasticity is repetition plus attention. Morning gives you both. 2 minutes of quality attention teach your nervous system what home feels like so it can find its way back when chaos scatters the compass. Now add a micro drill called mug, mouth, morning light. The first thing you touch is your mug, water or tea or coffee, it doesn't matter, but you pause with it under the window for 1 breath. You seal your mouth on the exhale to keep carbon dioxide high enough to trigger the vagus nerve's brake. You let your eyes soften into the distance. 1 breath, that's it. A ritual so small it can slip into any life. Rituals are how the brain remembers who you are without thinking about it. Feel your feet. If you're barefoot, the floor is cooler than your blood. If you're in shoes, your heel cups are warmer than the tops of your toes. Tilt your chin just a degree down and let your gaze widen. There is a hum in the room you hadn't noticed a moment ago: appliance, traffic, wind. That hum is your ally. It locates you in space and time. You are here, not in the argument from last Tuesday, not in the imagined failure next month. You are breathing in a room, and the chair you're in is doing half your work for you by holding you up. Let's tune the story engine more precisely. The RAS Spotlight Swap is a two-question practice that shifts your scan from global threat to local opportunity. After the Morning Stillness Stack, ask, what is the one thing that, if done by noon, makes the rest of the day feel workable? Then ask, what is one small sign I will use to notice I'm on track? The first answer sets direction. The second answer trains your RAS to catch actual progress instead of only hunting for danger. Your brain tags what you tag. Tag wins, and you build an identity that expects to handle things. Tag losses, and you build an identity that expects the floor to fail. You are not lying to yourself, you are calibrating your instrument. Abe, a junior product manager, used the Spotlight Swap on a launch week notorious for burned-out teams. The old Gabe lived in Slack, eyes narrow, fingers always typing, stomach clenched by 11. The new Gabe wrote one sentence in his notebook: by noon, confirm the API change is stable. Then he wrote his sign: if I can explain it to Sarah in 3 sentences, I'm on track. He ran the Morning Stillness Stack, walked 2 minutes around the block, and asked Sarah for 5 minutes. By noon, he had his 3 sentences. Were there fires? Yes. Did his hands shake? Less. He kept one promise to himself by midday, and that promise echoed louder than 3 pings with red dots. You might feel resistance rise like a handbrake. The mind says, I don't have time for this. The day is already moving. That voice is a loyal bodyguard, trained to sprint at the first scent of trouble. Thank it. Then tell it the plan. 2 minutes now so we don't spend 2 hours later fixing what panic breaks. Your bodyguard respects math. Stillness is not extra. It replaces repair. The more you repeat the baseline, the more the bodyguard rests at your shoulder instead of dragging you by the collar. Deepen the practice with another protocol, the Sanctuary Minute. Choose a literal spot, a chair by a window, the top step, a corner of your desk. Each morning after light, length, language, you sit or stand there for 60 seconds and do one thing only: notice 5 sensations without adding story. Cool air on your lip, weight in your left heel heavier than your right, pulse in your wrist softer than in your neck, fabric on your forearm rougher than the air on your hand, a faint smell you can't name. Sensation is the doorway out of mental weather. The brain can't catastrophize while tracking texture. This is not denial, it is a skillful pivot. From sensation, you can choose. From story, you often can't. You may notice memories barging into your sanctuary minute, loud and insistent. Let them. Label them like weather: light drizzle of memory, gust of worry, distant thunder of regret. Then come back to the exhale. Your exhale is the rope tied to the dock. Reach for it every time the boat starts to drift. You are not suppressing, you are steering. I am the awareness, not the emotion. Whisper it like you're telling a child the rules of a game they can win. Your chest settles when you remember this. Your shoulders slide away from your ears and make a little more room for your neck. Your belly softens just enough to let the diaphragm move like a bellows. You do not need to feel perfect. You need to feel a fraction more spacious than a minute ago. That fraction compounds. This is not about becoming a monk. It's about becoming a person who remembers the floor. On a rainy Tuesday, Omri sat in his car outside the gym, scrolling without seeing, heart bouncing like a ball in a small room, deadlines stacked. A text from his brother buzzed with bad news. He put the phone face down on the passenger seat and did the sanctuary minute. Tongue down, exhale like pouring sand. Workable. He listened for the farthest sound, rain spitting on the metal roof of a car 2 rows away. The panic didn't vanish. It loosened. He walked in and lifted lighter than he should have. The session wasn't a PR, it was a practice rep for staying with himself. That night he slept through for the first time in a month. You're ready for the habit hook. Attach the Morning Stillness Stack to something you already do every day. Teeth, kettle, shower, pet the dog. Coupling is a brain hack. When one behavior fires, the next rides the same circuitry. Put a sticky note where your hand goes first. Later you won't need it. Your body will default to stillness like reaching for a seatbelt. What begins as deliberate becomes automatic. That is neuroplasticity cashing its checks. Some mornings you'll wake in a mood that feels like a house you didn't choose to live in. Heavy curtains, stale air, creaky floors. Open one window, long exhale. Pull back one curtain, light. Change the house by changing how you stand inside it. On those days, shorten the stack to 30 seconds. 2 long exhales, 1 workable. 1 step outside or 1 faced a window. Perfection is a myth that keeps you from enough. Enough is the path. As baseline builds, your relationship to urgency changes. You will still move quickly when needed, but your quickness will feel like clean water through a hose, not like a fire hydrant blowing its cap. Your voice will land lower in your chest. Your eyes will catch details and possibilities. The same inbox, a different nervous system. The same family, a different habit of breath. The same city, a different horizon. Before we close, install one more micro tool, the pre-commit pause. Anytime you are about to say yes to a request, spend 1 breath with the Morning Stillness Stack compressed into a single exhale. Eyes soften to the distance, blades slide, exhale long, whisper workable, then ask, what is the smallest wise yes or no you will save yourself from a dozen low-quality commitments per month? That is freedom bought with 6 seconds. Now test the baseline. Sit as you are. Let a small smile live behind your eyes, not because you're happy, but because the face tells the brain you're safe enough to soften. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Again, light happens wherever your gaze meets space. Language happens wherever your inner narrator chooses a frame. Workable. Name 1 sign you'll look for by noon that proves you're on track. Maybe it's 1 sent email you've postponed, 1 glass of water, 1 question asked instead of a defensive answer. The sign doesn't have to impress your boss. It has to convince your nervous system. You are training for trust. You will forget on Wednesday and remember on Thursday. You will go 3 days straight and then miss 2. That is not failure. It is how wiring happens. Each return is a rep. Each rep teaches your amygdala the same 3 truths. We can breathe, we can anchor, we can choose. When you forget, do not narrate yourself as broken. Narrate yourself as returning. The identity shift is subtle and radical. You are no longer the person chaos happens to. You are the person who can make a minute. You are no longer the weather. You are the one who reads it and decides whether to carry an umbrella or dance in the rain. Stand up if you can. Feel your heels grow heavy like coins settling in a jar. Let your ribcage be buoyant over your pelvis. Turn your head slowly left and right, eyes soft, peripheral vision wide. That motion tells your nervous system the horizon is intact. Place your hand on your chest, warm on warm. The room has not changed, but you have. Tomorrow, meet the morning with light, length, language. Walk a minute like a metronome. Mark 1 sign you will notice by noon. And when chaos knocks, your baseline will answer before you do. Steady hand on the knob. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. Morning is where you practice being both. Afternoons are where good intentions go to sway. The body is a little dehydrated, glucose a little low, and the day has already taken its shots. This is when stillness earns its keep. You don't need a retreat. You need a reflex you can run under fluorescent lights. Today you'll build your midday operating system with 2 field-tested frameworks, Stop Map and the 3-perspective reframe. Stop Map gets you out of automatic pilot in under 60 seconds. The reframe redirects your RAS so you search for agency instead of doom. Put together, they turn the mess of midday into something you can steer. Right now, notice your mouth. Is your tongue pressed like a shield? Let it drop. Air meets the back of your throat cooler than the air leaving. Your shoulders are doing work they weren't hired for. Invite them to resign 1 millimeter. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. The exhale tastes faintly like warm metal. A hum in the background, AC, traffic, a distant fan anchors you to here. Stop Map begins with stop. See, touch ground, orient, pause. See means name 3 specific objects in your visual field: blue mug, cracked tile, green icon. Touch ground means put physical weight through heels or sit bones until your proprioceptors report we're supported. Orient means widen your gaze to the edges, left and right, so your nervous system updates the map to no predator approaching from the flank. Pause is 1 silent, nasal long exhale. Then map, make room, ask small, proceed. Make room for sensation without story, heat in cheeks, flutter in gut. Ask small, what is the smallest wise action? Proceed. Take it, even if it's an email subject line typed calmly or a glass of water lifted slowly. Stop Map is your parachute for modern chaos. In a narrow hallway outside a conference room, Priya read the message that detonated 2 weeks of careful planning. The vendor pulled out. Her stomach dropped like an elevator. Fingers went cold. A tightness climbed her throat, wordless and hot. Old Priya would sprint forward, emails, bark orders, try to outrun the flood. New Priya ran Stop Map. See, red fire extinguisher, framed safety poster, gray carpet seam. Touch ground, heels heavy, weight moving down through the bones. Orient, eyes softly left, softly right, the world still here. Pause, exhale to 6. Make room, heat in face, hands prickly, thoughts like bees. Ask small, what tiniest next step buys time? Proceed. She typed 6 words to her boss. Vendor out, huddle in 5, and walked toward the far window while counting 4 steps in, 6 steps out. The team still had a problem, but it wasn't a wildfire. It was whether they could work in. What happened in her brain? The orienting movement told the amygdala to hand back a little blood to the prefrontal cortex. The long exhale ticked the vagus brake. The small, tractable question respected the guard dog and kept it from biting. Pop neuroscience is not the point, mechanics are. Stop Map couples sensation and action so you don't live stuck in either. If you only feel, you drown. If you only act, you flail. You will practice doing both like a metronome: feel, ask, act. Press your thumb to the tip of your index finger. Feel the ridges meet. Trace each ridge with your attention for 1 long exhale. When you finish, let your eyes find the farthest point in the room and soften. Your breath lands like a small wave on a quiet beach. Temperature on your forearms cooler, belly loosening. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. Afternoons also tilt toward cognitive tunneling. The brain locks onto one threat and loses peripheral options. You'll counter it with the 3-perspective reframe: street, balcony, satellite. Street is your current view, close-in, noisy, emotional. Balcony is slightly elevated, the observer who narrates process over panic. Satellite is high altitude, values and timelines bigger than today. When a spike hits, you spend 1 breath at each altitude. On the street, you name one sensation and one fact. On the balcony, you name one pattern. From satellite, you name one value and one horizon. Then you pick the smallest wise action that honors the value without denying the street. Victor, an ER nurse on a double shift, felt the tunnel close around a patient's angry family member. Volume rose, words sharpened. His chest went hard like wood. Street, hands tingling, voice loud, fact, family is scared. Balcony, pattern, I tend to match volume when I feel accused. Satellite, value, dignity. Horizon, get them accurate info in 10 minutes. Smallest wise action, lower his voice by one notch and say, you deserve clear answers, give me 10 minutes to gather them and I will come back. He set a timer on his watch. When it buzzed, he returned. The room didn't become gentle, but it became human. That is the win afternoon stillness aims for. Feel your breath change just from hearing that. Jaw loosens, skin on your wrist feels cooler where air moves. Your back finds the chair in a new way, as if the chair got wider. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Whisper, safe enough, at the bottom. Then look left and right like a deer that already knows it can run if it needs to. The body believes motion more than words. There's a cousin of stop map that fits inside a sentence when you're mid-conversation. The hyphen pause. Insert a single hyphen-length breath before the clause where you usually justify or apologize. Yes, let's set expectations. No, Thursday doesn't work. That dash is not drama. It's a diaphragmatic micro-reset. It steals back a spoonful of oxygen for your cortex and prevents your mouth from outrunning your mind. Couple it with the anchor line, blades back and down, and you speak from lower in your chest. People feel the difference even if they can't name it. You'll make the hyphen pause concrete with a drill called red dot replies. Put a tiny red dot sticker near your keyboard or on the corner of your phone. Every time you see it, you add a silent 2-count exhale before you hit send or say yes. If you're walking, your red dot is the door handle. Hand touches handle, you exhale long once, then you enter. The rule is small on purpose. The amygdala hates grand gestures. It respects consistent micro-acts. Science moment translated for action. Cognitive tunneling narrows the attentional field under stress. Orienting and peripheral gaze widen it. The vagus nerve responds to longer exhalation and to vocalization in lower frequencies. You get both with slow sighs and speaking one notch deeper. The RAS tunes to questions. It ignores imperatives. That's why what is the smallest wise action works better than calm down. Your biology is persuadable, but never by shouting. Slide your palms along your thighs and feel the friction warm the skin. That heat tells you you're here, not trapped in the video loop of a mistake from last year. Listen for the far sound again, a little farther this time. Maybe a truck 2 streets away. Maybe wind. Maybe your own breath in the nose, like fabric moving. Your eyelids feel heavier by half a gram. This is what it feels like to be a person with a brake pedal. Afternoon boundaries are a nervous system skill, not a personality trait. You'll learn the one breath no. When a request lands and your chest tightens, you buy one breath with a phrase. Before I answer, give me one beat. Then you do a single stop, see one object, touch, wait, orient, pause. Then you say either no for today, yes to revisiting Friday, or yes to X, no to Y, so we can protect Z. That structure keeps your cortex online. Boundaries are not walls. They are clear doorways with times printed on them. Mina, a designer who'd made a career out of being agreeable, tried the one breath no with her creative director, who slid one more rush job onto her desk at 4:30. Her lungs went shallow. Old script, smile, swallow, suffer. She bought a beat with, let me take one breath to answer well. She looked past him at the window frame C. She felt both feet touch. She softened her gaze left and right, orient. She exhaled to 6, pause. Then, in a voice that lived lower in her ribs, she said, yes to tackling the homepage copy in the morning, no to adding the entire blog section tonight so we can protect quality. He blinked like a person who just heard a new language. He nodded. The world didn't end. Her nervous system learned a new door. Sensory check. The room smells faintly of paper and dust, or soap and citrus. Your lips are warmer than the air on your teeth. The back of your neck cools as tiny muscles unclench. 1 breath, 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out. Let the exhale be so quiet it feels like you are fogging a mirror only you can see. You are the awareness, not the emotion. There is one more field tool that binds these together, the minute map. At the top of each hour, if you can, or at least twice in the afternoon, say 1:00 and 3:30, you run this exact sequence. Stop map once, 3, perspective reframe once, window widen question once. It fits inside 60 seconds because you don't need paragraphs, you need single words. See pen, lamp, cup, touch, heels. Orient, left, right, pause, long exhale, make room, heat, tight. Ask small, email subject. Proceed, type 3 words, street, jaw tight, fact, deadline today, balcony, pattern rushing makes typos, satellite, value, clarity. Smallest wise action, write outline first. That's it. Ritual beats motivation in tired hours. Your brain will argue that this is too simple to matter. It is simple. It matters. Complexity breaks when you are hungry, stressed, or angry. Simplicity survives. You are building a nervous system that chooses simplicity under load and dignity under pressure. That identity is not a sticker you put on. It's a groove you carve through repetition. I am the awareness, not the emotion, isn't a mantra. It is a description of what you practice so often it becomes true in motion. Stand if you can and turn your head slowly left, center, right, eyes soft, like you're scanning a shoreline. That motion tells ancient parts of your brain that there's time and space. Rub your hands and feel the heat bloom. Place one hand on your sternum, one on your belly. The top hand rides the inhale a little. The bottom hand rides the exhale more. On the next out breath, let your shoulders drop like hooks slipping from a wall. The floor has you. Before we close, give your afternoon a preloaded line for moments you historically regret. When your mouth starts to sprint, you say, "Give me 60 seconds to answer wisely." Then you turn away if you can, or you look out a window, or you stare at a corner of the ceiling. You run stop map, you do street balcony satellite, and you answer with your smallest wise action. People might tease you the first time. They will thank you the 10th. Even if they never do, your nights will thank you because your words won't keep you awake. Let's rehearse one more story fast. Marco, founder at a tiny startup, faced a board call that felt like a tribunal. He imagined himself as prey. He rehearsed defensiveness in the shower. 10 minutes before the call, he walked the hallway doing circuit breaker walking, 4 steps in, hold, 6 out, eyes wide to the periphery. On the call, when the first hard question landed, he said, "Give me 60 seconds to answer wisely." He muted, did stop map, ran street balcony satellite, and chose, "I was wrong about timeline. Value is trust. Smallest wise action. Propose a smaller milestone next week." The call was still tough, but he left with a plan and without the shame hangover that used to last for days. Stillness saved hours he would have spent rewriting the past. Check your breath one last time. Is it higher in the chest, or did it settle a touch lower? Notice temperature at the tip of your nose. Notice the weight in your heels like coins in a jar. Hear the farthest sound you can find and let it mark the edge of your world for this moment. Whisper, "Safe enough." Ask, smallest wise action, maybe it's water. Maybe it's one honest sentence. Maybe it's silence. Pick one and do it now, then feel how your body says, yes, this. Afternoons will still bring noise. People will still walk fast and talk loud. Pings will ping. You are not trying to paint the world beige. You are learning to be the room in which the noise happens. The room has windows that open. The room has a chair by the window. The room has a person who knows how to breathe and look left and right and speak from a wiser place. That person is you, not someday. Now, you don't wait for calm to act. You act to find calm. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the witness with a hand on the wheel. And even at 3:17 p.m., when the hallway feels narrow and the sky looks thin, the steering wheel is exactly where it was this morning, in your hands, in your exhale, in the way your gaze can find the edges and widen. Evening is when your nervous system tries to hand you the receipts. The body slows just enough for the day's unprocessed spikes to knock on the door, and if you don't greet them, they climb in through the window and party all night. You don't need a meditation cushion or a new personality. You need a downshift ritual that tells your brain, we are landing the plane. Tonight you'll install the off-ramp protocol, a simple sequence that closes open loops, lowers physiological arousal, and converts mental noise into useful signal. When you land the plane, sleep becomes a runway, not a crash site. Off-ramp stands for offload, film strip, release, anchor, melt, prepare. Offload moves the day from your head to an external container. Film strip changes the way your brain flashes highlights. Release flushes charge through breath. Anchor brings the body home. Melt softens micro-tension. Prepare sets the reticular activating system to scan for repair, not threat. The whole thing takes 5 to 10 minutes. If you only do 2 steps, do offload and release. But when you can, run the whole lane. Feel your mouth. Let the tongue drop from the roof. Your jaw hinges down a few grams. Your eyes can focus on the farthest object in the room. Even a dark corner counts as far. Inhale through the nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 8, as if you're fogging a mirror only you can see. Notice the air cooler going in, warmer coming out. Your chest loosens a notch. That notch is the beginning of night. Offload is a page, a voice memo, or a notes app. The prompt is not poetic. What's rattling around? You empty tasks, worries, arguments, don't forgets, and also the tiny wins your brain ignores. The act matters more than the words. When you offload, you convince your hippocampus it doesn't have to ping you at 3:12 a.m. to remember a thing. The amygdala respects checklists. It calms when it sees a container. You are not solving, you are shelving. Film strip is a 2-minute replay of the day as if you're scrubbing a video timeline. You swipe through moments, pausing not on shame but on choice. Where did you choose one breath before speaking? Where did you forget and then return? Where did you catch yourself mid-snap and steer? The brain, under stress, highlights danger and erases dignity. Film strip restores dignity to memory. Your RAS learns to search for and store proof that you can choose under pressure. That proof changes tomorrow. Release uses a breath pattern built for downshifting. 4-2-8-2. Inhale for 4, light hold for 2, exhale for 8, soft hold for 2. The long exhale engages your vagus brake. The soft hold is a gentle do-nothing that teaches your system it can sit in quiet for a beat without scanning. 3 rounds. If your head spins on the hold, skip the holds and stay with 4-8. If your nose is stuffy, purse your lips and exhale like through a straw. This is a chemistry change, not a mood trick. Anchor is an intentional posture. Stand or sit and slide your shoulder blades back and down like books into a shelf. Let your weight gather in your heels or sit bones. Imagine a plumb line dropping from the crown of your head through your heart, belly, pelvis, into the floor. That line is the body saying to the brain, we are under our own roof. Predators don't fold inward, They occupy space with ease. You are not intimidating the world. You are informing your nervous system. Melt is 5 breaths spent scanning for microtension and letting it dissolve as if warmth were poured over ice. Start at the forehead, down the eyes, jaw, throat, shoulders, belly, hips, hands, thighs, calves, feet. You're not relaxing on command. You're noticing and letting gravity do what it already knows how to do. If you find a stubborn knot, imagine breathing around it, not into it, and letting the exhale slide past like water around a stone. The knot usually loosens when you stop arguing with it. Prepare is the final minute. You set a tiny intention for sleep. Tonight I repair, or tonight I am held. You dim the lights 2 clicks lower, and you tell your Ras what to scan for in dreams and dozing. Integration, not interrogation. If a problem barges in, you give it a date in the morning. 10:30 a.m., 15 minutes will plan you, and then you put it on your offload list. You make a promise to your mind, and then keep it tomorrow so it learns to trust silence. On a Wednesday that felt like 3 days stapled together, Nora nearly carried her work brain into bed like a buzzing beehive. Instead, she sat at the kitchen table with the only pen she could find, a purple one that left blobs on the page. Offload. Budget review Friday, email Ilan, dentist call, the look Jenna gave me, I'm worried about mom, I said yes, too fast to Alex. Film strip, she paused on the moment she asked for 60 seconds to answer wisely, and on the hallway where she walked 4 steps in and 6 out before speaking to the client. Release, 3 rounds of 4282, her shoulders dropping on the long pour of breath. Anchor, blades in the shelf, heels heavy. Melt, forehead, eyes, jaw, throat loosening like a zipper opening. Prepare, tonight I repair, lights 2 clicks lower. She still woke once at 2:40, but she didn't spin. She rolled to her back, did 148 exhale, and watched her thoughts like clouds. She was the awareness, not the emotion. She slept again. Notice your hands. The skin on the back's cooler than the palms. Feel the boundary of your shirt or sweater against your shoulders. There's a faint sound outside the room, a car passing, air moving in a vent, someone walking. That far sound is a landmark in darkness. Orient your head slowly left and right, keeping your eyes soft like you're listening with your whole face. Your nervous system updates its map, no threat from the flanks. Inhale 4, hold 2, exhale 8. Hold 2. The room seems wider by an inch. You might ask, what about screens? You already know blue light isn't the villain, frantic input is, so make a truce. Not no screens, that's a brittle rule that shatters on contact with a long day. Use the screen slope, over 30 minutes you slope stimulation down. First 10, finish necessary messages with deliberate slow thumbs and 1 added exhale before send. Second 10, shift to passive, kind input. A nature video, an old sitcom that doesn't yank your adrenaline. Final 10, device on airplane mode or another room. You are teaching your dopaminergic pathways to coast down, not cliff jump. The brain respects slopes. Tie this to a micro drill called candle breath. If you can, light a candle. If not, imagine the flame at arm's length. Inhale gently, exhale so slowly the flame leans but does not go out. If there's no candle, a finger held 10 centimeters from your lips will do. The exhale should barely cool your skin. 3 breaths. This is a nervous system lullaby written for adults who forgot lullabies were allowed. Let's add a second framework you can run in bed without moving much. The 3-2-1 body bridge. 3 sensations you can feel now. 2 pieces of gratitude in shadow, thanks for things you normally scowl at, like the squeaky floor you only hear because you have a roof, the ache in your legs because you moved. 1 value you practice today even in a messy way, honesty in saying no, courage in asking a question, patience in waiting 90 seconds. This bridge carries you from thinking to sensing to identity. Gratitude in shadow works because it avoids syrup and goes for ballast. The amygdala relaxes when it hears, "We can find enough even in the dark." Andre, who called himself a nighttime catastrophizer, built the body bridge slowly. The first week, his brain rolled its eyes. He did it anyway. 3 sensations: cool pillow, warm cheek, heartbeat in the ear. 2 gratitude in shadow. The neighbor's loud TV means I live near people. The dishes in the sink mean we ate. 1 value, restraint. I waited before replying to Sam. He didn't float into a bliss cloud. He felt like himself, but softer. After 10 nights, the 2 a.m. movie in his head played less often. When it did, he had a remote. Your chest expands less now than an hour ago, and that's good. The breath is shallow but slow, not panicked. Your shoulders are 2 degrees warmer than the air. Your bed or chair holds you as if it's been trying to hold you all day, but you moved too fast to notice. Whisper, "Safe enough," and feel how your tongue relaxes at the root when you do. Evening is also where relationships either repair or accumulate micro-fissures. Install the 2-sentence evening repair. When tension lingers, you say, "Here's what I wish I'd done differently today," then, "Here's one small thing I can do tomorrow." You don't litigate the other person. You narrate your own steering wheel. This resets dignity without demanding a trial. If you live alone, you say it to a voice memo or on paper. Your nervous system likes hearing yourself choose. The science bridge is short and useful. During the day, your sympathetic system runs hot. Catecholamines rise. If you downshift with off-ramp, you tilt the mix back toward parasympathetic dominance. Long exhale, dim light, and reduced novelty decrease locus coeruleus firing, easing norepinephrine. Your prefrontal cortex, no longer siphon for firefighting, can process the day into memory rather than looping it in unfinished business. Deep sleep is housekeeping. You tidy your house by telling your housekeeper what room to start with. That's offload and prepare. If any of that sounds like jargon, remember this. Long exhale plus less input plus named next step equals a brain that lets you rest. Before you move on, add the heatsink reset. Warm your feet and hands. The brain takes warm extremities as a sign of safety because blood leaves the core. Warm socks, a short bath, even running warm water over wrists for 60 seconds works. While you heat, breathe 4-8. This is physical persuasion. You don't argue a guard dog into calm. You show it the house is quiet and the doors are locked. A small story to place in your pocket. Jonah and May kept missing each other at night. He arrived buzzed with ideas. She arrived wrapped in silence. They fought about dishes like people who were really fighting about cortisol. They tried off-ramp together for a week. 5 minutes after dinner, offload in parallel, sharing 1 line each. Film strip, each naming 1 choice they were proud of, no commentary. 3 shared 4-2-8-2 breaths, eyes soft toward the window. Shoulder blades back, heels heavy together. Melt scan, laughing when they found the same knot in their foreheads. Prepare, 1 lamp clicked lower. The first night felt cheesy. By night 4, they didn't fight about dishes. They fought about the playlist, which is an upgrade. By week 2, they kept fighting less because neither was walking into the room like a fire alarm. Your nostrils feel the air like a cool cloth. The base of your skull loosens, a warm line down the back of your neck. Your belly moves when you exhale. The bed or chair has edges you can feel against your thighs and calves. Your eyelids want to be heavier than your thoughts. This is not a trick. This is physics wearing kindness. You'll end with the closure loop. Choose 1 sentence that gives the day a period. Today was workable. I kept 1 promise. I learned where to breathe. Say it in a voice 1 notch lower. The lower pitch vibrates your vagus nerve through the larynx and communicates safety to your own body. If prayer is your language, pray. If not, period. Your brain loves punctuation. A last objection might stand in the doorway. If I downshift, I'll lose my edge. The edge you're attached to is usually adrenaline pretending to be excellence. You don't need a buzzing hive to be sharp. You need sleep that repairs synapses, consolidates memory, and resets emotional thresholds. Stillness doesn't steal your edge. It sharpens your blade without grinding your fingers. Lie back if you can. Place one hand on your heart, one on your belly. Inhale 4, hold 2. Exhale 8, hold 2 again. If thoughts appear, put "I'm having the thought that" in front of them and watch them slide past like subtitles you can read or ignore. Your ears hear the room. Your skin tells you the temperature. Your muscles admit they're tired and no longer pretend to carry the ceiling. There's space behind your eyes. It's evening. The receipts have been filed. The guard dog is unhooked from the door. You didn't fix everything. You landed the plane. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. Night is not an accident. It is a practice. Off-ramp will feel awkward the first few runs. Then it will feel like finding the light switch in the dark without fumbling. That switch lives where all the others do, in your exhale, in your posture, in the 2 words "safe enough," in the smallest wise action of closing the day before it closes over you. Tonight, give yourself 5 minutes. Tomorrow, you'll collect the dividend in clearer mornings, steadier afternoons, kinder evenings. This is not about becoming calm. It's about becoming clear, clear enough to rest. Modern chaos has a delivery system, a glowing rectangle that lives in your hand. It's not evil. It's a megaphone plugged into your nervous system. If you don't learn to run the megaphone, it runs you. Today you'll build input mastery, the art of shaping what reaches your amygdala and your reticular activating system so your body isn't pinged into panic every 15 minutes. This isn't digital asceticism. It's nervous system carpentry. You're going to install 3 frameworks: the Doorman Protocol, the Signal Sieve, and the 2-tab rule. Together, they turn noise into navigable weather, restore focus, and keep dignity in your thumbs. First, the Doorman Protocol. Picture your attention as a quiet house with a single front door. Every notification, headline, message, and urgent email is someone knocking. A house with no doorman gets overrun. A good doorman asks 3 questions before opening. Who is it? What do they want? Is now the time? Translate that into a 60-second behavior called Dorset. You choose 2 windows in your day when your doorman opens the door wide, say 11:30 and 4:30, and at all other times knocks are acknowledged, not admitted. Acknowledged means your phone is on banners, not sirens. Your watch doesn't tap your wrist. Your apps don't shout your name. When a knock arrives off schedule, you apply the 1 breath no from earlier. Before I answer, give me 1 beat. Exhale long, then decide. Open, schedule, or ignore. You're not depriving yourself. You're deciding who gets your couch. Feel your face right now. The skin at the corners of your eyes is cooler than the warmth pooled at your cheeks. Let your tongue release from the roof of your mouth. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. The exhale tastes faintly like pennies. Your shoulders slide a millimeter back and down, blades into the shelf. The air near your wrists is a little cooler than on your neck. This is a nervous system with a doorman. Even your breath is a threshold. The second framework is the Signal Sieve. Your RAS is a sieve already. Everything you've told it matters becomes a large hole. Everything else becomes sand. Under stress, the sieve warps toward threat. You train it back with 3 passes: relevance, relationship, repair. Relevance asks, does this help me with my next right action today? Relationship asks, Is this from someone whose nervous system I'm responsible to right now? Repair asks. If I engage, does it mend or multiply? If a ping fails 2 of 3, it waits until your Dorset window. You pre-commit to this filter because the amygdala loves clarity. When the rule is simple and rehearsed, your guard dog rests. At a hot desk under fluorescent buzz, Eli juggled 3 chat channels, a code window, a browser with 12 tabs, and an email client that chimed like a slot machine. His stomach was a fist. He shipped buggy work and then stayed late to fix what panic broke. He tried the Doorman Protocol for 1 week. Banners only. 2 Dorset windows on his calendar in bright blue. He built a signal Sieve board on a sticky note. At 1:10 a message flashed, "Hey, quick cue," from someone who historically sprayed urgency. Eli felt the twitch to answer. He exhaled to 6, pressed his heels heavy and asked the Sieve. Relevance? No. Relationship? Not his direct team. Repair? Answering now would not prevent a fire. He scheduled the reply for 4:30. He wrote 3 clean functions before then. Nothing exploded. The next day, one of his teammates adopted the same windows. The hallway got quieter, not because the world changed, but because one nervous system refused to be yanked by every bell. Science short and practical. Dopamine is a learning signal, not a pleasure drug. Novelty and uncertainty spike it. Variable rewards. Sometimes the notification is vital, sometimes it is trash. Train your thumb to check. You are not weak, you are well trained. The Doorman Protocol collapses uncertainty into scheduled certainty. The signal Sieve denovelizes most pings. When novelty drops, dopamine settles. When dopamine settles, your prefrontal cortex stops getting bumped off the throne. You're not chasing a feeling, you're protecting a function. Run a sensory beat. Feel the pressure where your sit bones meet the chair, like coins settling in a jar. Find the farthest sound, air vent, distant car, a neighbor's laugh. Let your eyes soften to the periphery. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Whisper safe enough at the bottom. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. The third framework is the 2-tab rule. You train your brain to work in scenes. 1 scene, the document and the resource you actually need. 2 tabs open, nothing else. When you need a third, you close 1. This isn't moral purity, it's bandwidth hygiene. The visual field is part of your threat map. 10 open rectangles tell your midbrain there are 10 open loops. It spikes vigilance to monitor them. 2 tabs tell your brain there are 2 loops. Vigilance drops. Decision quality rises. You pair the 2-tab rule with a micro drill called the boxed minute. Before you open any new tab, do 1 4-6 breath and ask, what do I expect to find? Prenaming collapses the scavenger hunt and keeps your RAS from wandering into click brush. Maya, the same project lead from Chapter 1, used 2-tab during a live pitch rewrite. Her old pattern, browser nebula, frantic scanning, words that sounded like foam. She set a 1-minute timer, exhaled longer than she wanted to, and named her search. Customer case quote for healthcare, 1 paragraph. 2 tabs, doc and search. Found it in 40 seconds. Because she expected it, her RAS ignored shiny side paths. The pitch landed. Not because she became superhuman, but because she removed 12 small drains. You'll reinforce these with attention seams, tiny stitched edges where one task ends and the next begins. Without seams, your day frays. With seams, you close loops cleanly and your nervous system doesn't drag noise across boundaries. A seam is a single breath plus 1 posture change. Stand up, shake your hands, exhale to 6, blades back and down, sit. That's a seam. Put seams before messages and after meetings. Your body learns when to be porous and when to be firm. Notice temperature at the tip of your nose. Cool on the inhale, warm on the exhale. Notice the micro-stretch across your collarbones when you lift your gaze to the horizon line. Yes, even indoors, the top of the wall counts. Your belly loosens half a notch. Your jaw unclenches like a padlock opening. That softness is not laziness, it is reclaimed precision. There is a cousin tool for social scroll, the 3-tile test. Before you open a feed, decide the 3 kinds of tiles you're allowed to see: family updates, nature, art, strength training technique. If the 3rd tile doesn't match, you leave. Feeds are slot machines by design. You turn them into grocery lists. Your amygdala stops bracing for threat if it knows the aisle you're walking. Pair this with the gratitude in shadow microdrill from the evening chapter, but do it in public. Thanks for the impulse to compare. It means I want meaning. Label, thank, leave. A quick story. Nisha, a grad student, used to doomscroll between study bursts until her head buzzed and time melted. She built 2 Dorset windows around her classes, ran a signal sieve for study hours, relevance, course tasks only, relationship, advisor and lab repair, questions she could answer today, and applied the 3-tile test to her social app, course cohort updates, lab breakthroughs, art. The first week, she felt a phantom itch in the thumb. She bought that itch a bone, a rubber band on her wrist. Whenever the urge bloomed, she stretched the band, exhaled to 6, let it go softly and returned to the page. Not punishment, tactile redirect. By week 2, her brain stopped hunting for pings every 7 minutes. Her nights were quieter because her days had seams. Pop neuroscience again translated. The reticular activating system tunes to questions and categories. If you ask it, what might hurt me? It will serve you fresh hurt every minute, global, personal, imagined. If you ask, what is workable? You've already felt the shift. For inputs, ask what serves the smallest wise action, and which relationship is mine to tend today. Your sieve learns your values. Your values become your feed. That's not manifesting, that's attention architecture. Let's install a last piece. Notification triage with the AAA brief. Acknowledge, assign, archive. When a knock lands, you acknowledge with a 2-word reply or a star. Scene, 11:30, or an internal tag. You assign it a slot, Dorset window, calendar, or someone else. You archive the thread from your field until then. Acknowledge keeps relationships warm without letting them boil your day. Assign keeps promises real. Archive clears visual clutter, so your amygdala stops, guarding every open loop like a wolf den. Joseph, a customer success lead, carried dozens of small promises in his head and forgot the one that mattered most, the promise to his own nervous system. AAA changed that. An enterprise client pinged 12 questions at 9:06. He felt the chest clamp. He replied with scene, answers by 4:30, put a 15-minute block at 3:45, and archived the thread. He ran the minute map at 1:00. When 3:45 arrived, he opened the thread, answered clearly, and finished early. The client felt held not because he was instantly available, but because he was predictably available. Predictability is safety for them and for you. Sensory beat. Rub your palms together and feel heat bloom. Place one palm on your sternum, one on your belly. The top hand rides the inhale like a buoy. The bottom hand rides the exhale like a slow wave. Turn your head left and right, eyes soft, letting your peripheral vision widen. That motion tells ancient brainstem circuits the horizon is intact. Your breath drops a note lower. Input mastery isn't about hermitage. It's about responsibility to your best work, your truest relationships, your body's finite chemistry. The identity shift hides in plain sight. You are not a person who tries to be less online. You are a person who runs a system. Systems survive bad days. Habits buckle in crosswinds. Systems bend. Your system has a Doorman, a Sieve, 2 tabs, seams, AAA, and a social 3-tile test. It also has mercy. You will blow it when a headline hits your gut or a friend's message lights your chest like a flare. Mercy says, return now, not tomorrow. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. There's a final drill called the sanctuary icon. Choose one image you can keep on your phone's home screen: a mountain lake, a quiet room, a parent's hands, a blank page. Every time you unlock, your eyes land on it. Pair it with one breath. Inhale 4, exhale 6, whisper workable. Your RAS starts to associate unlocking with downshifting, not up spiking. Over time, your phone becomes less of a siren and more of a doorway. It doesn't change the world. It changes how the world enters. Stand if you can. Feel your heels pull the floor toward you. Imagine a plumb line from the crown of your head into the ground. Let your shoulder blades slide into the shelf. Gaze to the middle distance, a quiet horizon, even if it's just the top of a wall. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. This breath is your Doorman checking IDs. Relevance, relationship, repair. You hear a far sound, a car 2 streets away, wind through leaves, the refrigerator's hum, and it locates you in time. You are here, not inside someone else's alarm. Tomorrow you'll keep 2 windows for the world to pour through. You'll sieve knocks with simple questions. Your tabs will stay few. Your seams will stitch your day. The phone will vibrate and you will not be yanked by the collar. You will feel your tongue drop, anchor your blades, and ask, what is the smallest wise action now? Sometimes it will be answer. Sometimes it will be not yet. Sometimes it will be water. All 3 are forms of stillness. When people around you run on sirens, they might call you slow, aloof, or lucky. You'll know the truth. You aren't slower, you're steadier. You aren't aloof, you're available at the right depth. You aren't lucky, you're trained. The world will not reduce its knocking, but you will stop confusing knocks with fires. Fires get your breath, knocks get the doorman. This is how your nervous system keeps its edges smooth and its core strong in an age of endless alarms. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room that chooses what enters, when, and for how long. Your front door has hinges now, and they swing easily because you oil them with breath. The phone will glow. The news will shout. The chat will ping. You will lift your eyes to the horizon, exhale to 6, and let your doorman smile. Chaos multiplies when your edges blur. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about giving your nervous system a shape sturdy enough to love, work, and rest without leaking. Today you'll build boundary architecture, a set of repeatable moves that turn, I should say something, into calm, clean language your body can carry. Boundaries that spike adrenaline fail by midnight. Boundaries that ride the breath last. We start with the core shell model. Your core is your non-negotiables: sleep window, health basics, key relationships, values that define you. Your shell is how you flex around the core: meeting times, favors, timelines, style. The rule is simple: protect core with calm firmness, negotiate shell with generosity. Nervous systems burn out when they defend shell like core and abandon core like shell. We'll train your body to feel the difference so your mouth speaks it. Right now, map a sensation to each. Place one palm over your heart for core and one over your belly for shell. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. On the exhale, whisper, safe enough. Core feels like vertical steadiness, the plumb line through crown, heart, pelvis. Shell feels like a soft ring around you, flexible, responsive. Your jaw loosens a notch. The air on your upper lip is cooler than the warmth inside your mouth. This is what edges feel like before a single word is spoken. Framework 1, the SANE test, scope, authority, necessity, energy. When a request lands, you run SANE in 10 seconds. Scope, is this within my role? Authority, do I have the power and information to do it well? Necessity, does this actually need me or just someone? Energy, can I do it without borrowing from core? If two or more fail, it's a boundary moment. Your response starts with a one-breath no or a conditional yes. The goal isn't to win, it's to stay sane. At 3:55 p.m., a quick favor hit Lena's chat. The event team needed copy tonight. Her throat tightened, her fingers hovered over sure. She ran SANE, scope, not really, authority. She didn't know the audience. Necessity, someone needed to write it, but did it have to be her? Energy, her body said no, the warm drag behind her eyes, the cold hands. She slid her shoulder blades back and down, exhaled to 6 and typed, I can't own a new piece tonight. If you send me a single paragraph with audience and tone by 10 a.m., I can tighten the language by noon. The requester blinked across the chat. Okay, we'll draft. That's shell generosity protecting core. Sensory beat. Let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. Notice the tiny release at the base of your skull when you do. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. The exhale tastes faintly metallic, air on your forearms cooler than on your neck. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. Framework 2, the 2-column contract. Column A is what I offer. Column B is what I need to offer it well. You write it once for your role, your relationship, or your season, and you speak from it when chaos presses. I offer creative thinking, clear drafts, and on-time delivery. I need lead times over 24 hours, a point person for decisions, and 2 uninterrupted blocks a week. You're not negotiating your worth. You're declaring the conditions that let your best work appear. Your amygdala relaxes when it has a script. Evan built his 2-column for home. I offer cooking dinner 3 nights, Saturday morning errands, bedtime with Layla on weekdays. I need heads up by 5 p.m. for evening plans, 1 hour alone Sunday morning, and no phones at the table. He didn't deliver it like a manifesto. He made toast and said it gently, 1 breath lower. His partner, not a mind reader after all, nodded and added hers. The house felt like a house again, not an airport with delayed flights and people sleeping upright in chairs. You'll anchor 2-column with a micro drill called 4 corners. Pick 4 physical spots, a kitchen tile, a desk edge, a door frame, a car handle. Every time you touch one, you rehearse a single line from column B under your breath. To deliver well, I need 24-hour lead time. To be kind, I need directness. The repetition sneak-loads clarity into your nervous system, so when a request arrives, your mouth already knows the shape of no and the bridge to yes. Science bridge, quick and human. A shaky boundary is often just a conflict between the prefrontal cortex, long-term values, and the limbic system, short-term peacekeeping. When you pre-write 2-column phrases and rehearse them with breath, you reduce limbic surprise and give your cortex a better chance to lead. The vagus likes predictability. It interprets practiced sentences as safety. You're not manipulating yourself, you're giving your biology a ramp. Sensory check. Feel the weight of your heels like coins dropping into a jar. Hear the farthest sound, air, traffic, a bird, a hum. Let your eyes soften to the edges of the room. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Whisper, workable, at the bottom. Your chest loosens half a notch. Framework 3, the 3-gate dialogue. Before a hard sentence leaves your mouth, it passes through 3 gates: clear, kind, committed. Clear means simple, active language without apology fog. Kind means tone and timing that respect nervous systems. Committed means you stand still after the sentence and breathe. You don't backpedal because someone frowns. The words are short. The breath is long. That order matters. In a hallway smelling faintly of coffee and carpet cleaner, Jonah told his co-founder, no to launching this Friday, yes to shipping a smaller milestone Wednesday so we protect trust. Clear. He looked at the window while he exhaled to 6. Kind. The other man squinted. Jonah felt his old urge to soften into mush. He kept his shoulder blades in the shelf and said nothing for one breath. Committed. The conversation took 5 minutes. The team shipped something real the next week. Calm boundaries make competent teams. You'll practice 3-gate with a drill called the sandbar sentence. You write a single sentence that will keep you from being swept out when the tide pulls. No to the extra scope, yes to the original plan. I'm not available tonight, I can help tomorrow for 30 minutes. I'm leaving at 6, let's map the rest. You read it out loud in a voice 1 notch lower, eyes on a soft horizon, top of the wall, window frame. Then you place it on a sticky note where your hand lands. When the moment hits, you stand on that sandbar and let the wave slide past your shins. A story from a kitchen at 7:18 p.m. Nadia's brother dropped by unannounced, hungry and buzzing, setting the table like a storm. The old dance, complaints about work tumbling into demands for attention that stretched to midnight. Nadia felt her ribs cinch. She ran stop, see 3 objects, citrus bowl, knife, chipped plate, touch weight in heels, orient left and right, pause, long exhale. She lifted her eyes to a middle distance and used the sandbar. I'm glad you're here. I'm eating and resting tonight. I can talk for 20 minutes now or walk with you tomorrow at 6. He grinned, tried the old hook. Just an hour. She breathed once and stood on clear, kind, committed. 20 now or 6 tomorrow. He took the 20. He left before the pan cooled. The house exhaled with her. Your body is your boundary instrument. Train it with the body compass. When you consider yes, scan 4 beacons, jaw, belly, hands, breath. Jaw tight is often a sign of pseudo-yes. Belly cold is often a sign of overdrawn energy. Hands fidgeting are often a sign of avoidance. Breath shallow and high means you're living in appease or attack. When your answer is a true yes, your jaw unhooks, belly warms, hands quiet, breath deepens. The body compass doesn't make the decision, it informs it. You are a mammal, mammals know. Sensory beat, slide your lower jaw side to side once, then let it hang a millimeter looser. The back of your tongue rests like a warm spoon. Your breath moves like a tide that doesn't need you to drag it. The room smells faintly of dust, soap, or rain. Your skin tells you the air is cooler than your blood. You have space behind your eyes. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Framework 4, the golden fence. A boundary without a door is a wall. A boundary without a fence is a wish. The golden fence is one sentence about what happens next if the boundary holds or breaks, spoken in advance, without heat. If we don't have decisions by Wednesday noon, we ship the smaller plan. If meetings run over more than 10 minutes, I will leave and send notes. If you yell, I will end the call and try again later. It's golden because it's firm and kind, no threats, just clarity about your behavior. Enforce it once, and your nervous system learns it can trust your mouth. Marta, a therapist with a full panel, kept getting late cancellations. Her evenings became bookkeeping and resentment. She wrote a golden fence. Cancellations inside 24 hours will be charged. If 3 occur in 1 quarter, we'll pause care and reassess readiness. She said it softly, breath low. She enforced it without commentary. 2 clients left. The ones who stayed got better care. Marta slept. That is not cruelty. That is core protected so the shell can be generous. The micro drill here is the 2-ticket rule. Your time has 2 tickets, core tickets and shell tickets. You keep 5 core tickets per week. Sleep protection, workouts, sacred family window, deep work blocks, they are not tradable. You keep 5 shell tickets, flex slots you can spend or gift. Draw them on paper Sunday night. Color them. When a request arrives, you hand out from shell first. If shell is empty, you say, I'm at capacity. I can revisit Friday. Visual tickets calm the alarm because your guard dog can see the fence. Science bridge again, grounded. People think boundaries worsen connection. The opposite is true. Predictable signals reduce the other person's nervous system load. They don't have to guess who will show up. Your own load drops because you're not simulating every possible reaction in advance. The prefrontal cortex loves rules of thumb. The limbic system loves rituals. 2 tickets, 3 gate, SANE, 2 column. These are rituals that let you risk closeness without slipping into collapse. Check your breath. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Watch the exhale fall through your body like sand. Feel your shoulder blades slide into the shelf. The horizon line of the wall meets your eyes and says, there's more than the moment. Your hands are warmer than the air. Your belly softens 1 notch. You are here. Edge cases require precision. What if the other person spikes? Use the co-reg loop, regulate, reflect, request. Regulate your body first. Long exhale, anchor line. Reflect a simple truth without analysis. You're frustrated. This matters to you. Then request the next civil step. Lower your voice so I can stay with you, or let's pause for 90 seconds, I'll return. If they can't or won't, you enact your golden fence. Your goal is not to win the weather, it's to stay the sky. Arif, a shift manager, faced a barista who snapped in front of a line. Old Arif lectured. New Arif ran the co-reg loop. He exhaled to 6 and set his shoulder blades. He reflected, you're overwhelmed. The barista nodded, eyes wet. Arif requested, take 90 seconds in the back. I'll handle the line, we'll plan after. 90 seconds later, they mapped a tiny change. The store didn't become a monastery, but it stopped feeling like a siren. That is boundary work as leadership. There's a pattern you'll watch for: boundary backlash guilt. It sounds like you were too rigid, or you made it awkward, or you're selfish. That voice often belongs to an old version of you trained to earn safety by being useful. You don't fight the voice, you reassign it. Guard dog, watch the door while I speak 1 sentence clearly. Then you breathe. The guilt will lower its volume when it learns you still belong after saying no. Install the voice lower. When you set a boundary, drop your voice half a note, slow by 5%, add a 1-second breath after the sentence. Lower tones vibrate the vagus via the larynx and signal safety, not attack. People hear calm as legitimacy. You're not faking. You're giving your biology a chance to carry your values. Sensory beat. Rub your thumbs over the pads of your index fingers and feel the ridges meet. Temperature in your palms rises a degree. Your neck lengthens when your jaw lets go. You hear a distant sound, an elevator, wind, a neighbor, and it marks the edges of now. We close with the boundary rehearsal room. Pick a chair by a window or a spot on a wall. Once a day for 7 days, you stand there and speak a sandbar sentence and a golden fence to the empty room. You pair each with 1 4-6 breath and the anchor line. Monday, no to same-day ads, yes to small changes inside scope. And if scope expands midday, we roll to next sprint. Tuesday, I'm not available tonight. And if you press, I'll end the call and text a time. You don't memorize dozens, you embody a few. Your nervous system learns that your mouth can carry calm even when your stomach flips. A final story, quick and close. Saul, head of ops, dreaded his CEO's 10 p.m. one more thing texts. He lived in chronic appease. He wrote his 2-column, set 2 tickets, practiced voice lower and created a golden fence. I respond 8-6, if urgent outside, call. The first late text arrived on a Thursday. Saul's chest spiked. He exhaled to 6, eyes on the window frame, and replied the sandbar. I'll tackle this at 8 a.m., the CEO pushed. Saul enacted the fence, no reply that night, plan at 8. Friday, the world kept spinning. 2 weeks later, 10 p.m. texts stopped being the default. Saul didn't become difficult, he became dependable. Feel the floor through your heels, the chair through your sit bones. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4. Exhale for 6, like pouring water from a bottle slowly enough to make no sound. Whisper safe enough. Name 1 core 1 shell, core sleep window 11-6. Shell meetings after 4 negotiable. Name 1 sandbar sentence you'll use this week. Hear it in your lower voice. See yourself standing still for 1 breath after you say it. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room with doors and windows and light that changes with the hour. And you are the person who chooses when to open and when to rest. Boundaries aren't a personality, they're a breathing pattern with language attached. They don't make you hard, they keep you whole. People who love you will feel the difference. People who exploit you will feel it too and call it something else. Let them. You're building a life you can live in, with a core that sleeps and loves, a shell that flexes and plays, and a nervous system that doesn't spend its days apologizing for existing. When chaos presses tonight or tomorrow, stand on your sandbar. Let the tide slide past your ankles. Breathe like a metronome. Speak through the 3 gates. If voices rise, run the co-reg loop. If guilt knocks, give it a job. If you wobble, return. Returning is the muscle. Calm is the byproduct. You are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. Your edges are not knives, they're shoreline. Mistakes don't wreck you. The shame spiral after them does. The nervous system hates unresolved error because in the wild, error meant danger. In modern life, error means inboxes, sideways glances, and your own voice sharpening inside your skull. Today you'll build your recovery engine. You'll learn to turn "I blew it" into "I'm better for it" using 2 frameworks: the after-action compassion loop and the emotional alchemy ladder. Together, they stop the cortisol echo, preserve relationships, and convert pain into information. This is not self-esteem fluff. It's field medicine for the moments you most want to hide. Start in the body. Your tongue is a barometer. When shame spikes, it glues to the roof of your mouth. Let it drop. The base of your skull releases a fraction. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4. Exhale for 6, a pour with no splash. Notice the air cool going in, warm coming out. Your shoulders try to climb toward your ears. Invite them 1 millimeter down and back. There's a hum in the background, air vent, street, refrigerator. Let it mark the edge of your world. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Shame is weather, you are the sky. The after-action compassion loop, AACL, has 4 moves: name, normalize, narrow. Next step. Name is the plain sentence of what happened without courtroom theatrics. I missed the deadline by 2 hours. Normalize is the human truth that connects you to the species instead of isolating you. Humans miss timelines under load. Narrow reduces global catastrophe to local event. This affected Project A and Ari. Next step is 1 behavior that begins repair. Send apology with revised plan and a smaller milestone in 24 hours. The loop must live in your body to work. You run it with a breath cadence, not just words, so your cortex stays online while your guard dog calms. Mio, a new team lead, forgot to loop in a stakeholder and learned about it in a meeting where the missing person sat stone-faced. Heat rose from Mio's collarbones to her ears. The mind script loaded fast. You're not a leader, you're a mess. Old Mio would have apologized wildly and then hidden. New Mio pressed her heels heavy, slid her shoulder blades into the shelf, and ran AACL on paper after the meeting. Name, I failed to invite legal. Normalize, early stage leads over focus on velocity. This is common. Narrow, impact, legal's workload and trust, timeline slipped 8 hours. Next step, own it to legal today, propose a 5-minute async brief for future changes, send template. She exhaled to 6 and wrote the message. Legal was still annoyed, but the conversation was repair, not trial. Mio slept that night. Progress, not penance. Science, quick and actionable. Shame narrows the attentional field and hijacks language. Your amygdala flags social threat and siphons blood from your prefrontal cortex. A long exhale plus orienting gaze widen the field. Specific naming activates semantic networks that compete with limbic reactivity. Normalizing reduces perceived isolation, which drops threat appraisal. Narrowing converts global to local, shrinking the predicted damage map. Next step turns cortisol into catecholamines you can spend on action. You're persuading biology, not arguing with it. Run a sensory beat. The skin across your ribs stretches a little on the inhale, the belt line loosens a hair on the exhale. The room smells faintly of dust, coffee, or rain. Your palms rub together once, bloom warm. Your jaw hangs a millimeter looser. Breath in 4, hold 4, out 6. Whisper, safe enough. Now the emotional alchemy ladder, EAL. Emotions are energy with a story. You can't jump from shame to joy without ripping something. You climb a rung at a time. The rungs are notice, name, neutralize, nudge, neighbor. Notice is the raw sensation, heat in face, tight belly, buzzing hands. Name is the simple label, shame, fear, frustration. Neutralize is the distancing phrase, I'm having the emotion of shame, or I'm noticing the thought I failed. Nudge is a micro upgrade, curiosity instead of contempt. What's the smallest detail I can learn here? Neighbor is co-regulation, looping another nervous system in for steadiness, not saving. You do this in 90 seconds. If you get stuck, you descend one rung and widen the breath. Rhea, a senior account exec, got a terse email from a client. We'll reconsider the contract next quarter. Her stomach dropped. Hands went cold. She wanted to type an essay or crawl under the desk. EAL gave her structure. Notice, cold hands, tight throat, shallow breath. Name, grief shame cocktail. Neutralize, I'm having the thought I'm failing. Nudge, what smallest detail can I learn? She scanned and realized she never asked the client which success metric mattered most this month. Neighbor, she walked to June's desk, a calm colleague, and said, I need 90 seconds to steady. They breathed together, eyes soft to the window frame. Rhea then wrote, I here reconsider. What would make the next 30 days a clear win on your side? The client replied with one metric. The contract wasn't saved that day. But Rhea's nervous system learned that shame wasn't a stop sign. It was a signal to climb one rung. Feel your back meet the chair like a hand. Let your gaze widen to the edges of the room, even if the edge is just a shadow at the ceiling. Inhale for 4, hold, exhale for 6. The exhale tastes slightly metallic. The breath in cools your upper lip. Your shoulders soften a notch. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Recovery isn't only for external mistakes. It's for the self-accusations that make you brittle. The inner prosecutor thrives on absolute language, always, never, everyone. You answer with the court reporter. The reporter writes exactly what happened in one sentence, then asks 2 questions. What are 3 plausible causes, and what is one controllable lever? Causes are not excuses, they're context. Levers are not fantasies, they are small behavioral switches. The reporter speaks lower and slower than the prosecutor. Lower frequencies vibrate the vagus. Slower cadence tells your body there is time. In a fluorescent break room, Ben replayed his snap at a junior colleague. The prosecutor shouted, "You always crush people." The reporter wrote, "At 10:42 I raised my voice when the build broke. Causes, sleep debt, shaky handover, fear about demo. Lever, 90-second pause and one clarifying question before tone rises." He exhaled long, then walked back and delivered the repair. "I raised my voice, that's on me. Next time I'll take a minute before speaking." "Can I fix this by pairing with you for 20 minutes now?" The junior nodded. The room became human again. Ben wasn't absolved, he was oriented. Sensory check. Press thumb to fingertip and feel the ridges meet. Trace one ridge with attention during the next exhale. Hear the far sound, an elevator, a car, a bird. That distance becomes your ally. When shame tries to make the room small, distance widens it. Your breath drops one floor lower. Install the micro-repair, 2 sentences that most people never hear but never forget. Sentence 1, "Here's the impact I caused." Sentence 2, "Here's what I'll do to reduce it." No justification, no biography, no shared blame. You speak from your chest, not your throat. You allow one breath of silence afterward. Silence invites dignity back into the room. You are not the weather, you are the room that can clear. Tessa, a teacher, snapped at a student who interrupted with the answer. Later, she knelt by the desk and said, "When I snapped, I made the class feel unsafe. Tomorrow I'll pause and point to 3 other hands first." The student's face loosened. The class loosened. Tessa slept. That is nervous system stewardship disguised as professionalism. There's a cousin to EAL when rumination loops at night. The somatic scribe. Set a 2-minute timer. Write 1 page by hand starting every sentence with "my body is telling me." Replace interpretation with sensation and metaphor. My body is telling me my chest is a tight box. My body is telling me my jaw is a clamp. My body is telling me my hands want to push something away. 2 minutes. Then 1 round of 4-8 breath. Then 1 choice, water, text to repair, or bed. You're not solving your life. You're letting the body finish a sentence it's been trying to say all day. Notice the temperature in your palms, warmer than the air. The back of your neck cools as the small muscles let go. Turn your head left and right slowly, eyes soft. Ancient circuits mark a safe perimeter and lower the alarm. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Whisper, workable. We need one more tool for live fire, the cue crux choice. In the moment of error before the story spirals, find the cue, the first physical signal, the crux, the decision point, and the choice, the smallest wise act. Cue might be the neck heat or the breath catching. Crux is the moment before you defend or deflect. Choice is a tiny behavior that tilts the arc. Give me 60 seconds, or let me restart that sentence, or you're right, I missed that. Train your cue by rehearsing it out loud. When my neck heats, I will exhale and say, "Give me a beat to answer well." That is not weakness, it is piloting. A story in a glass-walled office. Armin delivered numbers that undercut the strategy he argued for last month. The room chilled. He felt neck heat and the first syllable of a defensive monologue. He caught the cue, crux, defend or own, choice, give me 60 seconds to answer well. He looked out the window, exhaled to 6, and said, "I argued for a faster ramp than reality gave us." The smallest wise step now is to right-size goals and protect credibility. Here are 2 options. The room didn't applaud, it breathed. His identity shifted from the guy who sells to the guy who steers. Shame loves isolation, recovery loves witnesses. The neighbor rung of the ladder matters. Choose a recovery partner, a person who doesn't collude with your worst story but also doesn't hand you platitudes. You give them a phrase they can use when you're spiraling. Run AACL out loud, or "Which rung are you on?" When they ask, you breathe, you speak the 4 moves, you climb 1 rung. You train your nervous system that help is not humiliation, it's co-regulation. You become that person for them too. 2 nervous systems sharing breath and clarity is how tribes survive winter. Sensory beat. Place 1 hand on your sternum, 1 on your belly. The top hand rides the inhale like a small tide. The bottom hand rides the exhale like a longer wave. Your throat cools on the in-breath. Your ribs move like they finally have room for you. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Identity is the quiet engine beneath all of this. If you carry the label, I am the person who messes up, you will hunt for evidence to make it true. You don't paste a new label on top. You practice a new sentence until it's not new. I am the person who returns. Returning is the muscle. You will still blush. You will still wake at 3 a.m. sometimes. You will also run AACL in the dark, climb 1 rung of the ladder, and choose a micro-repair at sunrise. That is not pretending. That is leadership that begins at the skin and radiates outward. When the inner critic starts to narrate in italics, you add the prefix that breaks the spell. I'm having the thought that I'm an idiot. Thoughts lose their handcuffs when you name them as thoughts. Pair it with the 90-second weather rule. Sensation first, meaning later. Feel heat, tightness, buzzing, watch them ebb, then speak the reporter's 1 sentence. Your cortex thanks you, your night does too. If your past holds an old, heavy mistake, you're allowed a deeper ritual, the letter to future competence. Write to yourself 6 months from now from their point of view. They describe how you used AACL and EAL to become someone trustworthy after error. They include 1 image, a window you look through, a mug you hold, a path you walk, to give your RAS something to find in days ahead. You read the letter after hard days. Not because it magically absolves you, but because it gives your biology a picture of direction. The body moves toward pictures faster than toward lectures. Feel your heels grow heavier, like coins settling in a jar. Let your eyes rest on the top edge of a wall or the corner of a window. That is your horizon. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Whisper safe enough. Ask, what is the smallest wise action now? Maybe it's writing the 2-sentence repair. Maybe it's water. Maybe it's stepping outside and letting wind touch your face so your brain remembers the world is larger than the meeting room. Before we close, rehearse a live scenario. Picture a conversation where you tripped earlier today. See the other person's mouth, the light on the table, the sound in the hallway. Feel your cue, jaw lock, belly cold, breath high. Work the ladder rungs in your mind, 1 breath each. Notice, name, neutralize, nudge, neighbor. Then run AACL, name what happened in 10 words, normalize without absolving, narrow to the people involved, next step with a time stamp. Hear yourself speak the micro-repair in your lower voice. Pause. Let silence do some of the work. Watch the room expand by an inch. That inch is the difference between spirals and loops that close. You will forget in the moment that you have any of this. That's fine. Your nervous system remembers faster than your mind. Your hands will find the exhale while your mouth still wants to argue. Your eyes will widen to the periphery before your thoughts consent to be less dramatic. Trust the body to lead you back. You are the room, not the storm. The room has windows. The windows open. A final story for your pocket. Keisha, a physician resident, misdosed a medication and caught it before harm. She reported it, chest tight, eyes burning. Old scripts predicted exile. Her attending said, "Run your loop out loud." Keisha named, normalized, narrowed, and proposed a repair. Change the order set to default to the safer option. Add a 2-step verification for high-risk meds. The team adopted both. The unit's error rate dropped. Keisha still felt shame's heat. She's human, but the heat didn't become a forest fire. It became a kiln that baked a better practice. Your chest may be lighter now by half an ounce, your jaw a shade softer. The far sound feels farther. The floor beneath you feels like something that's been waiting to be trusted. You didn't need absolution. You needed a system. AACL and the ladder are your system. They don't ask you to be fearless. They ask you to breathe, name, narrow, act. Rep by rep, your identity follows. You are the person who returns quickly and repairs cleanly. When modern chaos throws a stone, you will feel the splash. Then you will watch the ripples slow. Then you will step to the dock you built with breath and language and stand there until the water clears. People will mistake that for perfection. It is. It's practice. It's you choosing not to abandon yourself when you need you most. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. And when mistakes knock, and they will, you will open the door with steady hands, offer repair, and keep your keys. Focus is not a personality trait. It's a room you build. In modern chaos, that room can't be made of silence and ideal conditions. It has to be made of agreements your nervous system can keep even when the hallway is loud and the calendar is crowded. Today you'll construct the focus greenhouse, a living environment that protects your attention long enough for meaningful work to take root, and you'll run the calm cycle, a science-backed cadence that keeps your cortex online without burning out the body. You won't wait for motivation. You'll grow it with rhythm. Right now, try a tiny ritual that opens the door. Let your tongue drop from the roof of your mouth. Feel the base of your skull release a degree. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6, as if you're pouring tea without a ripple. Let your shoulder blades slide back and down like books into a shelf. Notice temperature differences, cooler across your forearms, warmer behind your knees. The room didn't change. Your nervous system did. That's the first pane of glass in the greenhouse, embodied permission. The focus greenhouse has 3 elements: soil, light, air. Soil is your task made specific enough that your reticular activating system can recognize progress. Light is a start ritual that turns the lights on in the brain the same way every time. Air is micro-oxygen for your attention, brief resets before the plant wilts. Here, S how it lives in a minute. Soil, write one line that starts with a verb and ends with a concrete output. Draft 3 onboarding emails, and then add the first physical movement. Open doc, write subject lines. Light, place a hand on your sternum for 1 breath and say the 2 words that prime the Ras. Workable now. Air, set a calm timer for 25 minutes. Schedule a 2-minute sensory loop at the midpoint to widen your gaze without leaving the room. Your system recognizes the pattern by day 3. By day 10, conditions feel familiar enough that effort drops. A story from a cramped apartment where trains rattle the windows. Aria, a freelance copywriter with a wandering mind, tried to brute force focus for years. She blamed herself for a brain that chased every sound. She built a greenhouse instead. Soil, write the first 300 words of the landing page, and open doc, paste outline. Light, mug under the window, 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out, whisper, workable now. Air, a 25-minute timer with a chime that sounds like a soft bowl, with a single midpoint exhale to 6, while she let her eyes soften to the corners of the room. She added a rule called 1 doorway per session, phone in the other room, browser at 2 tabs, notifications in banners only. The first day she wrote 2 paragraphs and felt like a fraud. The 4th day she wrote the 300 clean words in 23 minutes. The 6th day she did it twice. She didn't change her personality. She changed the weather around her work. Sensory beat. Notice the weight of your sit bones like coins settling in a jar. Feel how the top of your lip cools on the inhale and the breath leaves warmer at the rim of your nostrils on the exhale. Let your gaze widen to include the ceiling's edge. Hear the farthest sound, wind, a fan, a car that doesn't belong to you. This is your perimeter. Your guard dog relaxes when it knows the fence. Now install the calm cycle, 45-15 for deep work, 25-5 for light work, both braided with breath. 45 minutes on, 15 off is the cycle for heavy lifts, strategy, writing, design, analysis. 25 on, 5 off is for administrative blocks, emails, cleanup, logistics. But the difference isn't just minutes, it's chemistry. In the on, you use 4-6 breathing every 5 to 7 minutes silently, no drama, to keep code 2 tolerances healthy and the vagus brake engaged. In the off, you leave the chair, widen the eyes to the horizon, and walk slowly for 60 seconds, counting 4 steps in, 6 steps out. That vestibular rhythm resets your threat map and prevents the tunnel vision that makes small problems look like cliffs. Science in plain language. Your attention fatigues like a muscle that burns glucose and oxygen. Long exhale steadies the CO2 dance so your prefrontal cortex can keep running executive function instead of barking orders from a corner. Rhythmic movement and peripheral gaze widen predictive models in the midbrain and lower tonic arousal. None of that matters unless you feel it, so feel one small thing. In your next inhale, let your ribcage expand sideways, and in the exhale, let your belly soften. That expansion tells ancient circuits, not pray. Focus flowers in not pray. You'll protect the greenhouse with the single-channel rule. 1 channel per session, eyes on text, ears on silence or 1 loop track, hands on keyboard or pen. If you must switch, you run the attention handoff. Say aloud a single sentence that closes the first channel and opens the second. I paused at paragraph 3, returning at 2:10, then, now drafting the FAQ. Speaking at a lower pitch engages the vagus through the larynx. The brain tags the new scene and stops dragging the old one behind it like a ragged coat. John, a mid-level engineer, used to pinball between Slack, Jira, and the Ide, arriving at 5 p.m. with a body like a drained battery and a mind full of glitter. He tried single channel with handoff for 1 week. In the morning, 45-15 on a hairy function. At 12:15, 25-5 for the email backlog. At 3:00, one more 45-15. Every switch got a sentence. He felt silly saying it. He also finished a feature in 3 days that would have taken 2 weeks in pinball mode. The win wasn't speed. It was the absence of the shame fog that used to cover his evenings. Sensory beat. Press thumb to index finger and feel the ridges align. Trace one ridge with your attention during the next exhale. Notice the micro stretch across your collarbones when your gaze rises to the horizon line. The top edge of your wall is enough. Your neck lengthens by a breath's width. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. Distraction is not a moral failure. It's mismanaged dopamine. You'll regulate the drip with the bead jar. On paper, draw a small jar. Every time you complete a 25 or 45-minute on, you put a bead in with a tiny hash mark. Every 5th bead, you earn a novelty minute in your off. 1 funny video, 1 song you love, 1 page of a novel. Your RAS now anticipates relief on schedule. The thumb itch loses its power because the slot machine is replaced with a vending machine. Predictability is mercy. Add the scene lock. At the start of a session, you lock the scene with 3 anchors: a single scent tea, citrus peel, a drop of essential oil on a cotton pad, a single song without words looped quietly, and a single phrase written at the top of the page that starts with, "By 45 I will see a visible outcome." Scent imprints quickly. The next time that smell appears, your brain preloads the context. The song becomes a sonic doorway. The phrase tells your RAS what to highlight. When the lock is familiar, your body enters a groove faster than your mind believes you deserve. Alesha, a law student preparing for finals, felt like a browser with 60 tabs and a fan about to take flight. She built scene lock, lemon peel, a cello loop. By 45 I will see 2 cases briefed. She ran calm cycles all afternoon in the library's ugliest chair. She still felt the hum of panic in her belly. She just didn't obey it. Lemon, cello, the phrase, her cortex recognized the moment and rolled. 2 weeks later, she didn't suddenly become disciplined. She became a person with a room. Sensory beat. Feel your heels heavy like coins in a jar. Let your jaw unclench and hang a millimeter looser. The breath in cools your upper lip. The breath out warms the inside of your cheeks. A far sound plants a flag in the distance. Your shoulders drop a notch you didn't know they were holding. You will still get pulled. That's why you need the interrupt ritual. When a knock pierces your greenhouse, colleague, child memory, you run stop map in 10 seconds and either answer or park. See 3 objects, touch weight, orient left right, pause into a long exhale, make room for the spike. Ask small, do I handle or park? Proceed. Parking means writing a 1-line placeholder in the margin, milk 5 p.m. or call Sam 4:30, and returning to the sentence you were on. Your nervous system calms because parked is a place. Layer the priority window, the 3 90-minute windows in a week where your best work happens. You protect one morning, one afternoon, one evening, each with a greenhouse and a calm cycle. These windows are not sacred in a brittle way. They are simply the best bet. You tell 2 people who matter that you're offline then, and you keep the promise 2 out of 3 times. This alone changes careers. Your boss doesn't need more hours from you. They need a steady output of the work that moves the needle. Your body needs proof it can be trusted to carry a promise to itself. Elaine, a product designer with 2 kids, found her windows at 6:38:00 a.m. before school, 1:002:30 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and 1:8:009:30 p.m. slot on Sundays. She used light length language to enter, single channel to stay, and interrupt ritual to not resent the inevitable knock. She shipped a prototype she'd postponed for 6 months. She also started enjoying dinner because she didn't drag 3 undone tasks to the table like ghosts. Sensory beat. Slide your shoulder blades a millimeter back and down. Feel the spine lift like a string from your crown to the ceiling, buoyant, not stiff. Let your eyes soften to include both edges of your screen or wall. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Whisper, workable now. We add the focus contract, 1 sentence you say aloud before a session that sets your relationship to the work. I will make ugly progress. Perfection is a panic strategy masquerading as excellence. Ugly progress gives your system permission to move. Pair the contract with the 20-second scene start. Write the first intentionally messy sentence in 20 seconds. Momentum beats mood. The RAS uses beginnings to predict ends. Begin, and you tilt the prediction. There will be days when the mind fogs like a bathroom mirror. You run the fog drill, sensation, scribble, step. Sensation, name 3 body signals without story. Scribble, 2 minutes of writing exactly what you intend to do in tiny moves. open file, scroll to bottom right section 3, step, physically take one step, even if it's from chair to desk and back. Motion primes action. Then you start. The drill works because it crossfades from limbic to cortical through the body. When in doubt, trust physiology. Cade, a data analyst, dreaded a quarterly report that felt like a swamp. On swamp days he used to hide in research. Now he ran fog. Sensation, eyes sandy, neck warm, belly tight. Scribble, open sheets, duplicate Q2, filter dates, sum column F, write one sentence under findings. Step, stand up, step to desk, step back. He laughed at himself and began anyway. He finished the section in 40 minutes. Not because he hacked his willpower, but because he walked a rope across the mud and held on. Sensory beat. Rub your palms once and feel heat bloom. Place one palm over your sternum and one over your belly. Let the top hand ride the inhale, the bottom hand ride the exhale. The breath feels like tide lines on a quiet beach. Your back meets the chair like a hand that knows your shape. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Your greenhouse needs a closing ritual so you don't carry the dirt into the next room. Use the 2-line log. When the timer ends, you type 2 lines. What moved? And what's the very next breadcrumb? What moved is proof. Breadcrumb is a preloaded start. Then you say, I'll return at, with an actual time, and you breathe once. This tells your hippocampus to store the work as ongoing, not unfinished threat. Your off hours feel like off hours because you gave your brain a signpost back. Identity is the soil beneath all of this. People who don't trust their focus identity try to build it with heroics. You will build it with receipts. Every bead in the jar, every 2-line log, every scene lock is a receipt your nervous system can hold. I am the person who can make a room and live in it for 45 minutes. That sentence is not aspirational, it's descriptive. If you blow a session, you do narrate a collapse. You narrate a return. Returning is the muscle. Let's run a rehearsal now. Pick a task you've been avoiding. Write the soil line with a verb and an output, then the first movement. Outline the talk, open doc, write 5 section headings. Place a scent or simply open the window for a breath. Put on one track without words, quiet enough to hear your breath. Write, by 25 I will see 5 headings. Set a 25-minute timer. Drop your tongue. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Whisper, workable now. Begin with a 20-second scene start. Write the first wrong heading. At minute 10, do a silent 4-6 breath and let your eyes soften to the corners. When the timer ends, type 2 lines. What moved? Breadcrumb. Feel your heels heavy. Feel your ribs wide. Feel the far sound assure you that the world still exists beyond this task and doesn't require you to police it for 25 minutes. A brief story to tuck in your pocket. Priyanka, a nurse studying for a certification, had convinced herself she was a focus person. She built a greenhouse at 5:30 a.m. before the ward woke, lamp warm, tea steam. By 25 I will see 10 flashcards answered. She kept a bead jar in her notebook. First week, 9 beads total. Second week, 14. Third week, 16. On test day, her hands still shook. She breathed 4-6 in the hallway and said, I will make ugly progress. She passed. She didn't become someone else. She became herself, gathered. Sensory beat. Tilt your chin a degree down. The back of your neck lengthens like a cat waking from a nap. The air on your teeth is cooler than the air on your tongue. Your shoulders find the shelf again. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. If a thought intrudes, this won't work for me, prefix it with, I'm having the thought that, and watch it float 1 inch farther away. Distance is dignity. When storms outside rise, headlines, pings, voices, you won't barricade the greenhouse, you'll flex. Some days your cycle is 15:3, some days it's 1:45 and mercy. The rule is not do it perfectly, The rule is keep conditions: soil-specific, light-consistent, air-rhythmic, single-channel with handoff, calm cycles that respect your heart and brain, interrupt ritual that treats knocks like weather, not like intruders, two-line log so the future you has a hand to hold. You are not fragile, you are finite. Finite systems thrive with rhythm. The identity shift is subtle and durable. You are not the person who waits for focus. You are the person who builds it, breath by breath, pain by pain. Over time, the people around you will feel the difference. Your presence thickens, your voice slows by 5%, your work shows edges and depth. They will call it talent. You will know it was a room. Before you close this page, open your calendar and draw 3 priority windows in the next 7 days. Name 1 task for each soil line. Pick 1 scent or 1 song. Decide your calm cycle for each block. Then, tonight, put a small jar on your desk or draw 1 on paper. Tomorrow, drop the first bead. That sound, the bead hitting the glass, isn't small. It is you declaring your allegiance to the part of you that can hold a steering wheel for 25 or 45 minutes at a time in a world that profits from your drift. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. And focus is not something you pray for. It is a greenhouse you step into, a breath that steadies the air, a sentence that begins the work, a bead that proves you stayed. Arguments don't ruin relationships. Unmanaged nervous systems do. 2 people with hot amygdalas try to use mouths as fire extinguishers and wonder why the flames leap higher. In modern chaos, conversations are often collisions, not dialogues. You don't need to become a saint of patience. You need conversation gear that keeps your cortex online and turns heat into usable light. Today you'll learn the heat-to-heart bridge, how to cross from I'm right and threatened to we're 2 humans with a solvable puzzle. You'll run 2 frameworks, lava flow and the 5% truce. Lava listen, acknowledge, validate, ask, co-regulates the other person's body without surrendering your truth. The 5% truce finds the tiny overlap that lets you build forward momentum when the room is tight and the clock is rude. Start with your body because your words ride it. Let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. Feel how the base of your skull releases a degree when you do. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6 like you're cooling soup without blowing it across the table. The air at your nostrils is cooler going in, warmer coming out. Slide your shoulder blades back and down, books into a shelf. The moment your posture says, not pray, your amygdala returns a little blood to your prefrontal cortex. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. Lava flow begins before you speak. Heat flares, you build a breath bridge, 1 long nasal exhale that you pair with the phrase safe enough. That's your ramp. Then listen without hunting for loopholes. This is not endurance, it's data collection. While they talk, place 2 fingers lightly on your thigh and trace a slow circle with your breath. The circle keeps your body busy so your mouth doesn't sprint ahead. Next, acknowledge a concrete piece of what you heard. You emailed at 9 and didn't get a reply until noon. Acknowledge is the timestamp, not the verdict. Then validate the emotion's logic without confessing to a crime. Given the deadline, I can see why that felt like you were alone with it. Finally, ask 1 clarifying question that points the RAS towards solution. What would on time look like to you on launch days? An hour, 2, or a simple heads up? You're not diffusing a bomb, you're restoring oxygen to a room. Biology first, then language. In a glass-walled meeting, Tomas faced a client who arrived angry, arms folded like a locked gate. Heat rose in Tomas's chest. His neck stiffened. Old Tomas would counter with data and a tighter jaw. New Tomas built the breath bridge. Exhale to 6, shoulder blades into the shelf, eyes soft to the window frame. Listen even as his pulse drummed. He acknowledged the simple timeline the client described. He validated the feeling. That must have felt like a vanishing act on our part. He asked, on weeks like this, would you prefer a one-line status by 5 p.m. or a 10-minute call every other day? The client's arms didn't melt into hugs. They lowered a degree. Air entered the room. They agreed on a simple cadence. Tomas walked out with his dignity unburned and a process that didn't require heroics. Sensory beat, your jaw loosens a notch. The back of your tongue rests like a warm spoon. A far sound, traffic, a fan, a bird marks the edge of the moment. Your hands grow a fraction warmer than the air. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Say quietly, workable. Why does this work? Listening without interruption tells another mammal that the perimeter is secure. No predator is pouncing. Acknowledgement gives the hippocampus a timestamp that stops it from looping the same image. Validation de-escalates the limbic system by admitting the emotion's internal logic without capitulating to blame. A question re-engages the prefrontal cortex and reorients both RAS systems to search for something buildable. When biology breathes, people become people again. Now the 5% truce. In conflict, your brain pretends there are only two hills, mine or yours. The truce asks for a sliver, a single, specific piece of ground you both agree is true or desired. This isn't compromise theater. It's a nervous system wedge that opens space for wise action. You state your 5% like a tile you place on the table. We both want fewer last-minute scrambles. Or, we both want to protect weekends. Or, we both want the kid to feel safe at bedtime. Once the tile is down, you anchor it with a micro-behavior and a date. For 2 weeks, we'll test a 5 p.m. status line Monday and Wednesday. We'll measure scramble minutes and decide. The 5% shrinks the problem from everything about you to one behavior both bodies can rehearse. A rehearsal, not righteousness, rewires relationships. In a kitchen that smelled like garlic and heat, Suri and Dev argued about the same thing again, dishes and phone time. Their voices climbed. Suri's chest tightened. Dev's eyes went to the door like escape hatches. The old script was long and punishing. They tried the 5% truce instead. Breath bridge, eyes to the window frame. We both want the evening to feel less like a sprint and more like a landing, Suri said. Dev nodded. Tile, he added. 2 weeks, phones in a bowl from 7 to 8, timer for 15 minutes of dishes together right after dinner. They shook like kids playing spies. The first night was awkward. The third night, one of them forgot. The fifth night, both remembered, and the house felt less like a factory and more like a place. They didn't fix the universe. They practiced a sliver. Sensory beat. Feel the floor through your heels like coins settling in a jar. The skin at your wrists is cooler than the air under your shirt. Your breath slides along your upper lip, cool in, warm out. Your shoulders drop another millimeter. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Lava and the 5% truce need a second tool to start well, the doorway question. Before you enter a heated talk, ask yourself one sentence. What do I want to feel about myself 30 minutes after this? The answer, proud, respectful, steady, becomes your anchor. You pair it with the anchor line. Shoulder blades slide back and down. The amygdala stops trying to win with volume and starts stewarding values with tone. Your voice drops a note. Lower frequencies vibrate your vagus via the larynx and transmit calm even when content is hard. People hear truth at that pitch. There's a cousin practice for moments you're about to say something you'll regret. The one-breath rewrite. Mid-sentence, you stop, inhale through your nose for 4, exhale for 6, and say, "Let me restart that." Then you offer your thought in a humane frame, behavior, impact, request. When messages pile up without ownership, launches wobble. Can we map owners by noon? You didn't perform sainthood. You used breath like a steering wheel and language like a clean lane. You'll encounter 2 saboteurs, the cross-examination spiral and the historian's war. Cross-examining the other person's feelings with facts escalates alarm. Battling with dates and ancient grievances floods the room with ghosts. Install the 2-sentence amnesty. When the past tries to join, you say, "I'm not qualified to edit your memories. I can only hear them. The piece I want to work on now is," and you name 1 tile under your 5% truce. Amnesty keeps today from becoming a courtroom. Courtrooms are for crimes. Most conflicts are for carpentry. A brief story at work. Halima and her manager, Royce, were caught in a monthly dance. Halima felt unseen, Royce felt ambushed. They built a lava start to their one-on-ones. Breath bridge, then Royce invited 3 minutes of uninterrupted talk. He acknowledged specifics and validated the feeling without self-indictment. Then he asked, "Which 5% can we test for 2 weeks? Tile, a check-in at 10:15 on sprint days." It wasn't dramatic, it was durable. 2 weeks later, they adjusted the time. The heat faded not because feelings vanished, but because their bodies trusted the rhythm. Sensory beat. Press thumb to index and appreciate the ridges meeting like tiny zip lines. Trace one ridge as you exhale. Your jaw loosens. Your gaze widens to the left and right edges of your space. A soft hum anchors you. Whisper, "Safe enough." Now install the Mirror Label Bridge Micro. Mirror the last 3 words they said or the emotion you hear, "fell alone" or "frustrated." Label it, sounds like you felt sidelined. Bridge with a single honest sentence that doesn't erase theirs. "My intent was to protect timeline and I can see how it landed." Mirror and label calm the limbic system. The bridge keeps your spine. You don't have to agree to be decent. Decency lowers adrenaline so the cortex can rejoin the call. Conversation also needs exit ramps. Without them, fights drift until both nervous systems are exhausted and no learning sticks. Use the 10-minute treaty. If the conversation swirls without traction, either person can claim a treaty. "Let's pause for 10 minutes. I'll return at 20 with 1 sentence about what I heard and 1 concrete next step." This is not fleeing. It's honoring biology. In 10 minutes, your catecholamines drop enough for nuance to reappear. Keep the appointment. Your hippocampus learns you are trustworthy with time. Trust reduces threat. Threat reduction turns strangers into teammates again. You will want to fix someone else's nervous system. You can't. You can influence it with your own. That's the co-reg compass. Regulate self, reflect truth, request next step. If they can't join you, you enact your golden fence from earlier. If voices rise, I'll step out and return at 20. This is love with structure. Structure is mercy. A story of a hallway with scuffed paint. Luz, a resident advisor, faced 2 roommates whose whispers had become weapons. The room hummed with static. Luz ran lava in stereo. She breathed first. She let each speak without interruption, acknowledged details, 2 a.m. door clicks. Noise at 6, validated logic, anyone would bristle, and asked for workable preferences. Then she placed a 5% tile, both want sleep to be possible. Micro-behavior, headphones after 11, doors closed gently, showers before 6 only if necessary. We test for 7 nights. The first morning, someone slipped. Luz didn't convene a tribunal. She sent a 2-line check-in. The slip didn't become a story. The room stayed a room. Sensory beat. Tilt your chin a degree down and let the back of your neck lengthen like a cat waking. The breath in cools your upper lip. The breath out warms your inner cheeks. Your shoulder blades settle. The floor feels more like a friend than a surface. You might fear that listening equals losing. Here's the reframe. Listening is reconnaissance. You aren't surrendering. You're mapping the terrain so your next step isn't a mine. Boundaries protect your core. Lava keeps your shell permeable but not porous. The 5% truce builds a bridge plank by plank. Bridges aren't built by shouting distances. They're built by measuring spans and placing boards while your hands shake a little. Make it practical with the 60-30-10 talk. 60 seconds of listen, 30 of reflect and validate, 10 of one clarifying question. You can run this in a hallway without a timer because your breath is the timer. 4 in, 6 out for 10 cycles. By the end of 10, both bodies have more oxygen and less heat. The conversation isn't solved, but it's steerable. Introduce the single most disarming sentence you can say without self-betrayal. There's a piece of this I really want to understand. Curiosity is an oxygen mask. The amygdala cannot sustain full alarm while genuine curiosity is alive. Pair the sentence with a soft gaze to the middle distance, window frame, top of a wall. Your larynx drops your voice half a note when you mean it. The other person's shoulders come down as if invited by gravity. Practice now. Picture a recent tension. Feel your first cue, neck heat, jaw lock, shallow breath bridge. Lava, listen in your mind for 20 seconds, acknowledge one concrete detail, validate the internal logic of their feeling, ask one clarifying question that moves toward a 5% tile. Place the tile. We both want X, name a 2-week micro-behavior and a measuring stick. Feel your shoulders settle into the shelf. Hear your voice from lower in your chest. The room widens by an inch. There's a relief valve known as the 5-word repair. After heat, you say 5 words that hand your dignity back to you without groveling. I'm sorry for my tone, or I interrupted, that was unfair. Then you stop. Silence lets the repair land. Then, if needed, the humane frame follows. This 2-step prevents apology monologues that turn into self-critique carnivals. Repair is an action, not a performance. What about when you're the receiver of a boundary you don't like? Your nervous system will want to convince, diminish, or retreat. Try the boundary bow: 1 breath, 1 thanks, 1 question, breath to 6. Thanks for being clear. What flexibility, if any, exists around X? If the answer is none, you don't punish clarity. You recalibrate your map. People who can hold your no deserve more of your yes. Sensory beat. Rub your palms together once and feel heat bloom. Place 1 palm over your sternum, 1 over your belly. The top hand rides the inhale like a buoy. The bottom hand rides the exhale like a longer wave. The room smells faintly of dust, tea, or rain. A distant sound marks your perimeter. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Sometimes the most loving move is to stop talking, not as a weapon, as a skill. The silent pivot is 90 seconds where you step away, walk slowly with peripheral gaze, and ask the window-widen question, what is the smallest wise action now? Often it's water. Sometimes it's naming the 5% tile. Occasionally it's postponing the whole thing because your blood sugar is at war with your values. You're allowed to be an animal with chemistry and still be a person with intent. Identity hides in these moves. The old identity says, I am the person conversations happen to. The new identity says, I am the person who pilots heat. You don't always land perfectly. You land more safely more often. People around you begin to feel you as a pressure reducer. Meetings shorten. Evenings smooth. Friendships deepen because your nervous system doesn't swipe right on drama to feel alive. Aliveness becomes breath, gaze, choice. One last story. A father and his adult daughter walked after months of prickly texts. They both carried old rolls in their pockets like sharp stones. He felt the urge to give speeches. She felt the urge to keep receipts. They agreed to try lava and a 5% tile. He listened first with eyes on the horizon. He acknowledged the weeks he went silent during her finals. He validated how that silence could sound like disinterest even if he thought he was giving space. He asked what would presence look like now. She named a tile. One Sunday check-in, 10 minutes, no advice unless I ask. They tested for 4 Sundays. The stones stayed in their pockets. The road got easier under their feet. Now, before you close this page, choose a conversation that tends to run hot. Write your doorway question, how you want to feel about yourself after. Pick one lava sentence you'll use to start. Craft one 5% tile with a micro-behavior and a time box. Rehearse your breath bridge with one long exhale and the whisper, safe enough. Stand with your shoulder blades in the shelf and speak the words once to the room. Your biology likes rehearsal. Rehearsal is how you become the person who pilots heat when it counts. Feel your tongue resting. Feel the cool on your upper lip. Hear the far sound. Let your breath drop a floor. You are not trying to win the weather. You are learning to be the sky that carries it without breaking. Conversations won't turn into poems overnight. They will turn into places where 2 nervous systems can find a bridge. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. And when voices rise, you will breathe lower, listen longer, place a 5% tile, and cross the heat-to-heart bridge, one plank at a time, until both of you can stand on the other side and see farther. Big moments don't make you, they reveal your baseline. The pitch, the exam, the first date, the difficult call, your body reads them as cliffs and tries to save you by flooding the system. Hands go cold, throat goes tight, vision narrows like a keyhole. You don't need to erase adrenaline, you need to aim it. Today you'll wire performance stillness, how to step into pressure with a nervous system that knows what to do. You'll build 2 frameworks, the green room loop and the edge to center protocol, and you'll pack a clutch kit you can run in 90 seconds behind a podium, outside a door, or in the bathroom at intermission. This is not stagecraft, it's physiology you can steer. Begin in your body. Your tongue tells the truth first. When stress spikes, it glues to the roof of your mouth and steals your exhale. Let it drop. The base of your skull releases half a degree. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 7 this time, a longer pour that trades a little speed for a lot of choice. Notice the air cool on your upper lip and warm on the way out. Slide your shoulder blades back and down into the shelf. Let your eyes soften to the far line, even if the far line is the top edge of a wall. You are the awareness, not the emotion. The room expands an inch when you remember. The green room loop is what you run before the door opens or the camera light blinks red. It has 3 passes, body, breath, banner, and you cycle them twice. Body is posture and temperature, blades back and down, heels heavy, a warm-up for the vagus through low-frequency humming. You hum like a cello under your breath, 1 note lower than you speak, for 1 long exhale. Breath is 417 for 3 rounds. That tiny 1 count at the top interrupts the gasp reflex and hooks your diaphragm into a steady arc. Banner is a single sentence you place on your Ras like a headline over the next scene. I deliver 1 clear idea. Not 10, not everything, not perfection. 1 clear idea. Your midbrain will start hunting for moves that serve that headline and ignore those that don't. 3 passes, 2 minutes, a different body in the same doorway. In the dim hallway outside a conference ballroom, Jules held a clicker in a damp hand and watched executives file in like judges. Her chest felt like a box strapped too tight. Her mouth rehearsed apologies. Old Jules sprinted through slides and tried to outrun the heat. New Jules ran the loop with her back against cool plaster. Body, blades into the shelf, hum lower than her speaking voice until she felt her sternum buzz. Breath 3 rounds of 417 while her eyes tracked the far exit sign to widen the field. Banner, I deliver one clear idea, the new onboarding cuts confusion by half. She cycled again. When her name was called, adrenaline came with her, it just had a job now. She hit the message twice. Someone still checked email in the front row. She still felt heat, but she piloted, and the pilot landed the plane. Sensory beat. Feel the fabric on your shoulders, warmer where it touches skin. Notice the weight of your heels like coins settling in a jar. The room has a hum somewhere, vent, street, distant voice. Let that far sound mark your perimeter. Inhale 4, hold 1, exhale 7. Whisper, workable. Edge to center is your in-the-moment rescue. Pressure pushes you to the edges, hands shaking at the lectern, voice climbing the throat, eyes grabbing faces for approval. You bring yourself back to center in 4 moves. Anchor, aim, act small, amplify. Anchor is the physical re-entry. Shoulder blades slide into the shelf. Jaw loosens, tongue drops. Exhale long. Aim is the one-sentence compass, your banner, spoken silently at the bottom of the exhale. Act small is the tiniest visible behavior that serves the compass. Place the glass on the table without a clink. Read the room's left edge. Ask one clean question. Write the first formula. Amplify is the deliberate choice to slow by 5% and lower your pitch by half a note. 5% is invisible to others and huge to your nervous system. Lower pitch vibrates your larynx and tells your vagus, we're not prey. You can run edge to center mid-sentence without anyone knowing. A corridor that smelled like coffee and carpet cleaner held a story. Malik, a resident delivering his first bad news briefing to a family, felt the tunnel close. His peripheral vision dimmed. His palms buzzed like insects. Old Malik over-explained to outrun grief and flooded the room with words. New Malik touched the doorframe anchor. He let his shoulder blades drop and exhaled through his nose for 7. Aim, one clear idea. Here's exactly what we know and how we'll be with you. Act small. He pulled a chair close and sat so his knees and theirs were anchored to the same floor. Amplify. He slowed by 5% and let his pitch fall a half step. The room did not become soft. It became human. He delivered the worst sentence a person can hear in a way their bodies could actually carry. Science bridge fitted to your hands. Under acute pressure, your amygdala steals blood from your prefrontal cortex because speed beats nuance when a tiger lunges. Long exhale returns tone to the vagus brake, reducing sympathetic overdrive. Peripheral gaze widens predictive models in the midbrain, so your brain stops forecasting attack from every angle. Low humming engages the vagal branches through the larynx and inner ear, calming heart rate variability. A single simple banner hijacks your RAS so it stops scanning for social danger and starts scanning for delivery cues. You don't have to believe any of that. You can feel it in 1 minute and then do it when it counts. Sensory beat. Rub your thumb over the pad of your index finger and feel the ridges meet. Trace one ridge with your attention during the next exhale. Notice the temperature difference between the air on your forearms and the warmth under your collar. Your jaw unhooks another millimeter. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You'll carry a clutch kit for the last 90 seconds before a test, pitch, race, or hard talk. It's 3 actions and 1 image. Actions, breath ladder, Horizon sweep, vowel drop. The breath ladder is 3 rounds of 417 followed by 1 round of 408. No hold at the top. Just a long pause that tells your body the sprint hasn't begun yet. Horizon sweep is a slow left-right eye movement, head still, like reading a wide sign. It's orienting, a literal reminder that the world is bigger than your problem. Vowel drop is humming, or VVV, low in your chest for 1 exhale to drop pitch and engage the vagus. You can do it with your lips barely parted, so it reads as a sigh. The image is a somatic bookmark, a picture of your body doing the first tiny move well, your finger pressing the unmute button, your hands settling on the keyboard, your foot touching the starting block. Your brain loves bookmarks. When adrenaline surges, it looks for the first page to open. You choose the page. Helena, a violinist after a long sabbatical, stood in the wings of a small stage where the lights felt like a climate. Her hands buzzed. The bow might as well have been a knife with a heartbeat. She almost apologized to the conductor and fled. Clutch, ladder, sweep, vowel. She breathed 417 3 times, then an 8-count pause. She swept her eyes across the curtain's top seam twice. She hummed a low into her chest and felt her sternum buzz. Somatic bookmark, first finger placed, weight of the elbow, an A that lives like a rung on a ladder. She walked out and played. Notes weren't perfect. Stillness carried the arc. Imperfect with dignity beats perfect with collapse. Her nervous system learned that a stage is a room, not a cliff. You can ask your chemistry to help. A sip of water before you begin raises saliva, which tells your brain the organism is not in pursuit or being pursued. A brief hand squeeze with your own opposite palm warms the fingers and opens capillaries. Warm extremities equal safety signals. A single sentence spoken aloud alone in a lower voice. I deliver one clear idea, primes your pitch. Sensory beat, feel the cool on your upper lip. Feel the warmth inside your cheeks as air leaves. The sound in the hallway, footsteps, AC, wind locates you in time. Inhale 4, hold 1, exhale 7, whisper safe enough. Pressure often brings mind static. You'll clear it with the 2 fence focus. Fence 1 is the first 90 seconds, fence 2 is the next 3 minutes. Write 1 line for each before you begin. Fence 1, name the stakes and the single idea. Fence 2, show 1 concrete example. That's it. You arrive at the stage thinking about fences, not critics. Critics don't vanish. They just can't fit in a fenced yard this small. Fences protect your prefrontal cortex from trying to juggle paragraphs, while the body is counting exits. There is a moment halfway through any high-stakes act when your system threatens to overcorrect. The voice wants to hurry or to float into a higher pitch. Install the middle marker, a prepared micro-behavior that toggles you back into center. It might be placing your palms flat on a table for 1 beat. It might be letting your gaze land on the far corner of the ceiling for 1 silent breath. It might be reading 1 line exactly as written before you improvise. The marker feels like touching a lamppost in tag. You're not running away, you're tagging home base and re-entering the game. A courtroom offered its own test. Priam, a public defender, felt his mouth dry and his heart throw itself against his ribcage as he rose to cross-examine. He used to overfill the first question, trying to prove competence by density. Middle marker changed that. He placed his hand flat on the lectern for 1 beat and read the short, exact question he'd written. You arrived at 8:17 correct. His voice was a half note lower. He looked at the far wall for 1 breath between answers. The jury didn't cheer, his system didn't scatter. Over 20 minutes, That difference mattered more than any clever line he once chased. Science bridge you can feel. The middle sag in performance is often a dip in cortical acetylcholine and a rise in CO2 from shallow breathing. One long exhale and a tactile reset restabilize the balance. Eye gaze to the horizon reduces pupil dilation and tells your midbrain you can afford to widen the map. Low pitch engagement via the larynx influences heart rate variability in your favor. You're stacking inches. Inches win races. Sensory beat. Press your thumbs together and notice warmth blooming at the pads. Trace the outline of your teeth with your tongue and let the tongue rest heavy afterward. The back of your neck lengthens when your jaw lets go. Inhale 4, hold 1, exhale 7. The exhale tastes faintly metallic and settles your chest one notch. Performance also requires recovery. After the moment, your nervous system needs closure or it will keep pinging you with phantom errors at 2 a.m. Use the curtain close within 15 minutes. One sentence of truth, one breath, one body signal. The sentence is the court reporter's line, not your prosecutor's fury. I delivered the core idea and lost 2 transitions. The breath is a slow 4/8. The body signal is a brief walk with peripheral gaze or 2 minutes with your back against a wall, heels heavy. You don't perform a post-mortem in a hurricane. You close the curtain gently, then return later for learning with the after-action compassion loop. Curtain close tells your amygdala the show ended and the house is safe to clean. A track meet gave another proof. Esteban false started in a heat that mattered to his scholarship. Shame slammed like a door. He wanted to run away from the stadium. His coach put him against the chain-link fence, palms flat, blades in the shelf, and told him to breathe 4/8 twice while scanning left and right and planting one court reporter sentence. I jumped the gun. I'm ready on second gun. He ran the next heat clean and qualified by a hair, not because he became fearless. Because he closed one door and opened the next, instead of standing with both doors banging in a wind that would knock anyone down. Sometimes pressure is social. The room is a dinner table. The stakes are identity. You'll use the spotlight shield. Picture your attention like a round beam you can tilt. In pressure, it turns inward and burns your own face. Tilt it outward onto one person you choose, a friendly forehead, a pair of eyes, a hand holding a pen. Give your voice and words to them for 1 minute. The body reads, I am with one human, not I am on trial before 50. The physiology changes, your pitch drops. Your hands talk less. After a minute, widen the beam by a foot. People call this charisma. It's actually nervous system geometry. Sensory beat. Feel the bench or chair like a palm under you. The texture against your fingers is rougher than the air on your wrist. Your breath slides along your soft palate and leaves warmer at your lips. A distant sound marks the edge of now. Whisper, workable. Let's put this into rehearsal. Choose a coming moment with stakes. Write your banner in 7 words or fewer. Stand or sit and run the green room loop twice. Body humming, 417 breath, banner whispered at the bottom. See the door or the screen. Feel your palms warm with a gentle rub. Touch a wall or desk and let your blades slide into the shelf. Walk into the moment in your mind and run edge to center once after the first sentence. Anchor down, aim the banner, act small, one precise move, amplify by slowing 5%. Place your middle marker halfway, see yourself touching that lamppost. Rehearse the curtain close, court reporter sentence, long exhale, a short walk with soft eyes. You just trained your body to recognize a path. Nerves love paths. Zoe, a new founder, did this in a subway station with tile that smelled like heat and metal. Investors waited upstairs. She leaned against a column, ran the loop, whispered, "I deliver one clear idea. This product reduces support tickets by 30% in 30 days. Edge to center as she shook hands, jaw loose, shoulder blades in the shelf. One small action, place her notebook quietly. Middle marker at slide 3, palm on the table, one beat, eyes to the far window frame. Curtain close in a side street afterward. I delivered the idea, lost one transition, handled questions. She slept that night instead of replaying eyebrows and coughs. A week later, the term sheet included the number she'd actually prepared for, not the one her fear invented. Pop neuroscience last pass. Expectation drives perception. If you expect threat, your RAS highlights it and your amygdala validates the choice. Training banners and fences gives your RAS a different expectation. We do small wise actions under load. The prefrontal cortex picks from that menu. Your identity updates by evidence. Not I'm confident, but I can breathe, anchor, and choose when it counts. Confidence is the residue of kept promises in rooms with buzz. Sensory beat. Let your head turn slowly left and right, eyes soft, as if your ears could see. The movement is a message to ancient circuits, perimeter clear enough. Your breath drops a floor, the base of your neck warms. You belong to the room doesn't own you. There's a final micro drill when words fail, the silent seal. When you forget the line, lose the thought, or feel the floor drop, you build a seal with one breath and one honest sentence. Breath to 7. Let me take 10 seconds to give you the right answer. Then you look to the horizon and count a slow 5 while your banner returns. People read this as care, not incompetence. Your body reads it as leadership. You are modeling how to be human under pressure without abandoning clarity. You might be tempted to aim for never feeling nerves. That's not the goal. Adrenaline is fuel. You learn to burn clean. The arc is simple. Loop before, edge to center during, curtain close after. Banners before, middle marker in the middle, silent seal if needed. 2 fences to keep your mind from sprinting off the stage. The clutch kit rides in your pocket, not as superstition, as a switchboard your hands know how to run. Test your hands now. Place your palm over your sternum, hum low until you feel the vibration there. Breathe 417 twice. Whisper the banner for a small thing today. I ask one honest question. Touch a wall or the back of a chair and feel your blades sink into the shelf. Walk 3 steps and let your eyes sweep left to right once. In your mind, deliver the first sentence. Pause halfway and place your middle marker, palm, gaze, 1 written line. At the end, speak your court reporter line and exhale to 8. There it is. A loop that fits inside a minute, a body that remembers how to use it. People will say you're composed. What they'll feel more than that is your steadiness on their behalf. The room breathes easier when someone knows how to handle their own chemistry. You become the person others scan for when the projector fails, when the kid cries, when the numbers wobble, when the stakes climb. Not because you play hero, because you don't abandon your anchor. A last small story to tuck in your pocket. Hannah, a paramedic, arrived at a scene that smelled like gasoline and fear. A crowd closed in, faces loud. Her hands wanted to shake and sprint at the same time. She built a breath bridge in the open air with a low hum, slid her shoulder blades in the shelf, and ran edge to center while she knelt. Anchor, aim, airway, then bleeding. Act small, 2 fingers to the carotid, then a chin lift. Amplify, slow by 5%, call for the kit in a lower voice. The siren of her own body quieted to a hum under the work. Later, in the rig, curtain close, airway secured, bleeding slowed, coordination wobbled once. She exhaled to 8 and stared at the horizon through the windshield until her pulse read human. She didn't transcend fear. She drove with it in the right seat, buckled in, listening to something older than panic. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. High stakes don't require a different you. They require practice doors, breath, posture, banner, fence, marker, seal. You walk through them and carry the same nervous system you have in a kitchen into a boardroom, a stage, a track, a living room where a truth needs to be said. The steering wheel is under your palms. The hum is in your chest. The horizon is in your eyes. You don't wait to feel brave. You breathe, you anchor, and courage shows up like a colleague who's never been tardy. Mastery isn't a moment, it's a maintenance plan. You can run breath protocols, hold boundaries, deliver under pressure, and then a long week lands like wet concrete. Sleep phrase, food becomes an afterthought, your phone grows fangs again. Modern chaos isn't a single storm, it's weather that cycles. Today you'll install sustainability architecture, simple systems that keep stillness alive over weeks and months, not just minutes. You'll use 2 frameworks, the 3 batteries and the weekly AAA, Anchor, Advance, Archive, plus 2 field tools, the friction map and the storm calendar. Put together, they turn relapse into part of the path instead of a cliff you fall from. Start in your animal. Let the tongue drop from the roof of your mouth. Feel the micro-release at the base of your skull. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. The breath leaves warmer than it arrived. Slide your shoulder blades back and down into the shelf. The chair underneath you rises like a palm. A fast sound, vent, street, voices, marks the perimeter. This is you arriving in the room you're going to maintain. The 3 batteries is how you stop treating your energy like a mystery. Battery 1 is body, sleep window, food quality, hydration, movement. Battery 2 is brain, focus cycles, dopamine drip, cognitive load. Battery 3 is belonging, co-regulation, repair, meaning. Most people try to power a week with 1 battery and then wonder why all the lights flicker. The rule, never let 2 batteries go red at the same time. If body dips, sleep, debt, sore throat, you don't also starve brain of rhythm and belonging of contact. You steal electricity from comfort behaviors that don't repair and reroute it to utility behaviors that do. This isn't optimization theater. It's keeping the lights on when the grid shudders. In a grey office with a fluorescent buzz, Sarah kept solving stress with more hours. She slept 5, 8 air, and caught up in bursts that wrecked focus. On Thursday, she'd cry in a bathroom stall and label herself weak. The 3 batteries changed the map. Monday morning, she drew 3 boxes and marked them green, yellow, or red. Body, yellow 6 hours, shoulders tight. Brain, green, clear morning window. Belonging, red, no real conversation in days. The rule kicked in. She wouldn't let belonging stay red while body was yellow. She scheduled a 20-minute walk with a friend at lunch, ran 1 45-15 calm cycle, and ate an actual meal. Nothing heroic. 2 batteries yellow or green by afternoon. Her output rose because her system had somewhere to stand. Shame shrank, systems grew. Sensory beat. The air at your nostrils is cool on the way in, warm on the way out. Your wrists feel a degree cooler than your neck. Your jaw hangs looser by a millimeter. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Whisper, workable. The weekly AAA is your Sunday or any day ritual that keeps stillness glued to real life. AAA stands for Anchor, Advance, Archive. Anchor is choosing 3 rituals that will not move this week. Morning Stillness Stack, 2 priority windows, 1 off-ramp night. They're fence posts. Advance is 1 project you push by 2 smallest wise milestones, something your future self will thank you for more than applause will. Archive is closing loops that haunt, emails, receipts, repairs, so your hippocampus doesn't wake you at 2, 40 a.m. with one more thing. You do AAA in 20 minutes. 5 to feel, 5 to name, 10 to schedule. The nervous system trusts calendars more than vows. Run it now in miniature. Place one hand on your sternum. Breathe 4-6 once. Anchor, circle the 3 rituals that will happen even on bad weather days. Advance, name one project and write the next 2 breadcrumbs. Archive, list the 3 loops that make your stomach clench and assign them slots. Lower your voice a half note and say, I'll keep these 3, move these 2, close these 3. Your larynx vibrates your vagus, your calendar saves your cortex. Identity sneaks in here. You become the kind of person who tends a week like a garden, not a battlefield. The friction map is how you remove sand from gears. Pick one habit you keep dropping: morning stillness, minute map, 2-tab rule. Draw 3 columns: steps, friction, grease. Steps are the real micro moves. Phone face down, mug at window, 3-4-6 breaths, write workable. Friction are the little devils: cold kitchen, cluttered desk, app icons screaming. Grease are the fixes: socks by bed, 1 minute tidy at night. Move social apps to page 2, sticky note on kettle. Your amygdala doesn't care about your ambition, it cares about the number of steps. Reduce steps and frictions, habits stop wobbling. Diego, a grad student, swore he'd run the Morning Stillness Stack and then sprinted straight into doom scrolling. His friction map told the truth. He reached for the phone because his alarm lived there and the window was across a cold room. Grease, a cheap sunrise alarm, slippers on the floor, mug on the sill, the word workable taped to the glass. 3 days later he had a baseline. He didn't become moral, he became engineered. Sensory beat. Feel your sit bones like coins settling in a jar. The fabric on your shoulders warms where it touches skin. Let your gaze widen to the ceiling edge. Hear a far sound. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Weather changes, so you install a storm calendar. It tracks known turbulence, launch weeks, exams, travel, holidays, family seasons, so you can preposition stillness like sandbags by a river. For storm weeks you shift expectations. Anchor stays, advance shrinks to 1 breadcrumb, archive leans on AAA brief, acknowledge, assign, archive. You also run the 60% rule. Aim for 60% of your normal load, not 100%. Biology applauds consistency more than heroics. Storm calendars keep you from accusing your character when your chemistry and context are loud. A kitchen calendar saved a parent named Mina every June. End-of-year school chaos used to break her systems and then her self-talk. She penciled storms, recitals, deadlines, travel. For each she preloaded the anchor slots, cut advance to 1 step, and asked for belonging help twice a week. Walk with a neighbor, 10-minute check-in with her sister. June still felt full. It didn't feel like drowning. Maintenance shifted from white-knuckling to orchestration. Science bridge human-sized. Habits wire by context and repetition. When contexts shift, light, timing, place, your basal ganglia wait for new cues. Storm planning supplies them. The 60% rule keeps dopamine from swinging wildly and saves your prefrontal cortex from bargaining with impossible standards. Long-term, the biggest predictor of sustainable change isn't intensity, it's rhythm. You're building rhythm with anchors and honest loads. Sensory check. Rub your thumbs along your index finger pads, feel ridges meet. Trace 1 ridge with attention as you exhale. Your belly softens a notch. Your shoulders ride down their rails. The room widens by an inch. You need a relapse ritual. It's called the 2-bridge return. Bridge 1 is somatic. 1 long nasal 4-8 breath, anchor line, peripheral gaze. Bridge 2 is language. The 10-word court reporter line, I drifted. Now I'm returning with one smallest wise action. Then you do it. No speeches, no self-indictment. Return teaches your nervous system that wobble is not exile. Exile fuels shame, return fuels identity. On a Thursday at 9:40 p.m., Jamal realized he'd broken every boundary he set that week, said yes to 3 maybes, and slept 5 hours a night. Old Jamal wrote manifestos and promises he broke by Saturday. Two-Bridge changed the story. Somatic, exhale to 8, blades slide, gaze soft. Language, I drifted, return now with off-ramp light. He ran offload, 3-4-8 breaths, lights 2 clicks lower, 1 2-sentence evening repair to his partner. He went to bed without writing a vow. He woke up and set one anchor, morning stillness, then kept a tiny advance. That day became part of the path, not a hole in it. Your nervous system is also a gardener. It needs nutrients. Install the 3-2-1 fuel, 3 glasses of water before noon, 2 real meals that grew or grazed, 1 slow walk with peripheral gaze. Don't moralize food. Use it to stabilize chemistry. Pair it with the heatsink race set from earlier, warm hands and feet at night, and with the vestibular minute in the afternoon, slow head turns while seated, eyes wide to the edges. Hydrated, warmed, and oriented mammals think better thoughts. In the coworking space that smelled like coffee and ozone, Priya forgot water and believed her problem was discipline. Her 3-2-1 fuel lived on a sticky note. 3 waters by 11:45. 2 plates that looked like ingredients, not inventions. 1 slow walk around the block staring at trees and corners. Her afternoon panic became afternoon pace. It wasn't magic. It was salt, water, vestibular input, and breath. Sensory beat. The tip of your nose cools. The inside of your cheeks warms. Your hands are warmer than the air. The floor comes through your heels like a quiet promise. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Identity sustains maintenance. Install the identity lighthouse, a single phrase that shines when fog rolls in. I am the person who returns. Write it where your hand lands, kettle, keyboard, door. Pair it with a gesture, thumb to forefinger, 1 low hum. Lighthouses don't fight weather, they stand and signal. You will forget, and then you will see the light you set for yourself. That's the whole trick. A small story from a rainy city bus. Lena, tired to the bone, scrolled until her stomach hurt and her breath went high. She saw her lighthouse on the lock screen, white text on a black background, thumb to forefinger, 1 hum under the breath. She locked the phone, lifted her eyes to the far corner of the bus, exhaled to 6 and asked, smallest wise action? It was water. She drank. Later it was sending 1 clear boundary sentence. By evening it was bed on time. The day didn't become noble, it became navigable. You'll tie maintenance to meaning with the values ledger. At day's end, you write 2 lines. Where did I practice X? And where will I practice it tomorrow? X is a value you chose, truth, kindness, courage, craft. Ledger isn't grades, it's direction. The RAS loves direction tied to identity. Uncouple perfection, couple practice. 2 lines keep the amygdala out of your diary. Extend compassion to the future with the gentle buffer. You leave 10 unscheduled minutes between blocks and 15 before bed. Those minutes aren't for phones, they're for breath, water, warm hands, soft eyes, and asking the window-widen question. Buffers make you a person whose schedule doesn't punish your biology. People will think you became efficient. You actually became kind to the organism that does your life. Science bridge last pass. Chronic stress shifts baseline arousal upward. Buffers, hydration, vestibular inputs, and long exhales bring the floor down. Predictable rituals reduce dopamine volatility. Identity phrases paired with sensory anchors wire faster than abstract goals. Your midbrain is old. It loves simple. The simpler you make maintenance, the more you'll keep it. Sensory beat. Turn your head slowly left and right, eyes soft, as if your ears could see. Your neck warms along the ropes that live there. The room's hum is proof of distance. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6, whisper safe enough. Now your weekly AAA rehearsal. Picture the coming 7 days. Name your 3 anchors: Morning Stillness Stack, 1 off-ramp, 1 priority window. Name your 2 advanced breadcrumbs for 1 meaningful project. Name your 3 archive closures that will buy you quiet: 1 email, 1 bill, 1 repair. Put them on the calendar with real times. Mark your storm days with a small cloud and run the 60% rule there. Tape your lighthouse phrase where you'll see it first. Move 1 app off your home screen. Place your mug by the window. Put socks by the bed. You didn't change your character. You changed your context so your character can breathe. A last story for this week. Omar, a new manager with a new baby, believed maintenance was a luxury. He ran AAA on Sundays with a squirming infant on his chest. Anchors, morning stillness by the crib, off-ramp on Wednesdays with low lights and candle breath, a single priority window on Friday at 9. Advance, draft roles, doc, breadcrumbs, write headings, fill 1 example. Archive, expense report, pediatrician email, call landlord. He built a friction map for evenings and moved the dishwasher pods to where his hand lands when he's half asleep. Storm calendar circled teething weeks. Lighthouses on mirrors. 3 batteries checked each morning. He did not become rested. He became resourced. That was enough to be a gentler boss, a sturdier partner, a person who sometimes smiled at 2:07 a.m. because he remembered he had a steering wheel. Feel your heels heavy, your shoulder blades sliding into the shelf, your breath leaving warmer than it arrived. The room is the same, you are different in it. Maintenance isn't glamorous. It's a cadence that keeps the roof on during rain and lets sunlight through when the clouds pull back. You'll miss days, you'll forget, you'll return. Returning is the muscle, calm is the byproduct. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the room, not the storm. And now you are the keeper of systems that love you back. 3 batteries watched, weeks anchored and advanced and archived, frictions mapped, storms planned for, relapses returned from, lighthouses lit. This is how stillness becomes a lifestyle instead of a trick. Identity is the quiet room you carry everywhere. When chaos rises, you return to that room or you forget it exists. Everything you've practiced, breath, posture, windows, fences, greenhouses, points here. This final chapter is where stillness stops being a technique and becomes the way you move. You don't have to become a different person. You become the person you already are when you're not sprinting for approval or bracing for attack. The work now is consolidation. We'll finish by installing 2 frameworks, the North Star Map and the Quiet Leader Protocol, and by crafting your Keystone day, 1 ordinary day engineered to keep your nervous system honest. You'll leave with a ritual for hard seasons and a promise you can keep on no sleep and low hope. This isn't a pep talk. It's a final tightening of bolts so the ship holds in long water. Begin in your body, because identity lives in sensation before it lives in sentences. Let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. Feel the tiny hinge at the base of your skull loosen 0.5 millimeter. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6, like pouring tea with no splash. The air is cooler on your upper lip than inside your cheeks. Your shoulder blades slide back and down into the shelf, not as a pose, as a homecoming. A far sound, vent hum, traffic, a voice, marks the perimeter of now. You are the awareness, not the emotion. That sentence is a key, turn it. The North Star map is how you steer without 1,000 resolutions. You pick one guiding quality for a season, clarity, courage, kindness, craft, and you wire it into 3 layers: spine, steps, stories. Spine is the bodily signal that means on path. If the star is clarity, spine might be jaw unhooked, eyes on the horizon, breath landing lower. Steps are 2 daily behaviors that make the star visible in motion. Morning Stillness Stack and the 2-line log, for example. Stories are phrases that teach your reticular activating system what to highlight. I am the person who returns, and smallest wise action now. The map works because your midbrain loves single words and repeated acts. You don't debate who you are all day. You check your jaw, your breath, your horizon. You keep 2 promises. You speak 2 sentences. The star stays fixed. You move beneath it with more and more ease. When Keon took a new role with too many eyes on him, he chose steadiness as his North Star. Spine, blades into the shelf, tongue down, exhale longer than inhale. Steps, priority window at 9:33 days a week, 1 breath no before new commitments. Stories, workable now, I deliver 1 clear idea. For a quarter he didn't become charismatic, he became dependable. His team started borrowing his breath cadence in tense meetings. He didn't evangelize, he exhaled. That's identity by osmosis. Sensory beat. Press thumb to fingertip and feel the ridges meet like tiny zip lines. Trace 1 ridge with attention during the next exhale. The temperature at your wrists is cooler than at your neck. Your ribs widen sideways on the inhale as if the room made space for you because you remembered how to stand in it. The Quiet Leader Protocol is how you influence a room without turning yourself into a performance. It has 4 moves: arrive, arrange, attune, articulate. Arrive is a 20-second breath bridge outside the door, blades in the shelf, eyes to the horizon, 1 banner whispered lower, 1 clear idea, 1 clean ask. Arrange is 1 physical change that lowers collective arousal. Pull chairs into a circle, open a blind, place water, write the 5 percentile where eyes land. Attune is the first 90 seconds. You listen before you tell, mirror 1 phrase, validate 1 logic, set the pace 5% slower than the room. Articulate is the sentence that names direction and smallest wise action. 2 options, 1 vote now, 1 by Friday. You don't sell calm, you embody it. The room's guard dogs nap because your body speaks their language. In a windowless weekly with high stakes and high volume, Asha ran the protocol. She arrived with 4-6 breath, whispered, clarity, 1 ask. She arranged by moving the loudest chairs away from the doorway bottleneck. She attuned by letting marketing air 3 specifics without cross-exam, mirroring the last 3 words, validating urgency. Then she articulated, we're aligned on fewer scrambles. 5% truce, 2-5 p.m. status lines on launch weeks. I own Monday, Lewis owns Wednesday. No grand speech. No saintly patience, a nervous system designed for war leading a small peace. Your Keystone Day is the blueprint you can replicate under any sky. Think of it as your nervous system's favorite song. The verse is Morning Stillness Stack and Circuit Breaker Walking. The chorus is 2 calm cycles in a protected priority window. The bridge is a minute map at 1:00 and 3:30. The outro is off-ramp light. Offload 3-4-8 breaths, prepare. Layer in 2 boundaries you'll defend even on fire days. 1 breath no and the 60-second setdown between calls. That's it, the day isn't optimized. It is kind in repeatable ways. Kindness compounds. On a Tuesday that should have broken her, May ran her Keystone. 2 children woke early. The dog was sick. A supplier failed. She still ran light length language by the window. She still walked 4 minutes counting steps. She still defended 1:45:15 cycle at 10:30, then the minute map at 1:00. She still turned lights down 2 clicks and wrote, "Tonight I repair." Her output wasn't heroic. Her body didn't set itself on fire. That's the win. A day that doesn't betray you when conditions refuse to flatter you. Sensory beat. Feel your sit bones like coins settling in a jar. Let your jaw soften until the back of your tongue rests like a warm spoon. The air on your upper lip is cool. Inside your cheeks it is warm. Your shoulders slide back and down as if gravity has been patiently waiting to help. You'll cement identity with 2 micro-rituals, the witness chair and the return bell. The witness chair is a literal or imagined seat where you sit for 60 seconds daily and remember, I am the awareness, not the emotion. You look out a window or at the top edge of a wall. You count 1, 4, 6 breath and watch thoughts arrive like birds you don't need to chase. The return bell is any recurring sound, kettle, elevator ding, calendar chime, that triggers 1 exhale to 6, 1 anchor line, 1 window widen question. Bells make monks not because bells are holy, but because bodies love rhythm. Science bridge one last time attached to your hands. Identity is a predictive model. Your brain guesses who you are next based on who you were the last 100 times this cue appeared. If door handle predicts rush in, you get a rush. If door handle predicts exhale, blades, smallest wise action, you get choice. The vagus nerve is your consent line between impulse and action. Long exhale lowers the cost of wisdom. Peripheral gaze expands options. Simple phrases shape the RAS. Repetition in context carves the groove. You don't need belief to start. You need fidelity to tiny moves until belief becomes obvious. Sensory beat. Turn your head slowly left and right as if your ears could see. The world widens by an inch. Your palms are warmer than the air. A hum far away marks the edge of now. Whisper, safe enough. Hard seasons arrive like weather fronts. For those, you'll use the 3-phase year: plant, tend, harvest. Plant is for learning and lowering stakes. You practice protocols in small contexts, build greenhouses, rehearse boundaries to empty rooms. Tend is for consistency. You pick your Keystone day and defend it 3 days a week. Run the weekly AAA, check your 3 batteries daily. Harvest is for output and pressure. You run the green room loop, edge to center, the clutch kit, and you curtain close. When you name the phase, you stop shaming yourself for not doing harvest work during plant weather. Seasons are sanity. Hector, entrepreneur by day, caregiver by night, used to accuse himself of laziness when winter drained light and stamina. He named January, February as plant. He practiced 1 breath no to the mirror, moved apps, walked slow with peripheral gaze. He named March, June as tend. Keystone days 3 times a week, bead jar visible. He named July as harvest for a product push. He no longer measured July's pace against February's light. His nervous system stopped feeling like a traitor. It felt like a partner. Install the compass and lantern so you can steer in fog. The compass is a 2-line morning check. What matters most today, and what's the smallest wise action? The lantern is a 2-line evening reflection. Where did I practice my North Star? And what will it look like once tomorrow? Compass aims, lantern remembers. Memory without lantern is a courtroom. Memory with lantern is a museum of evidence that you can, in fact, pilot. Sensory beat. Rub your palms once and feel heat bloom. Place 1 hand on your sternum, 1 on your belly. The top hand rides the inhale like a small tide. The bottom hand rides the exhale like a longer wave. Your back meets the chair like a palm. A final field story, because humans learn by watching other mammals cope. On a day with blue siren lights, Shirin stood in a hospital hallway that smelled like antiseptic and oranges from a vending machine. She was waiting to hear about her father's surgery. Texts buzzed like mosquitoes. Her body wanted to pace and bargain with fate. She touched the witness chair, a grey plastic seat under a flickering TV, and sat for 60 seconds. Breath 4-6, blades into the shelf, eyes to the far corner where a poster curled. I am the awareness, not the emotion, she told herself with a voice a half note lower. She rang the return bell each time the elevator dinged. Exhale to 6, window widen question, smallest wise action now, water. Message to brother, I'm here. One sentence to the nurse, when might the surgeon come out? Later she ran the curtain close in a quiet parking lot. I stayed with myself, asked for updates twice, cried once. Her father healed. But even if the day had ended differently, she would have been with him and with herself. That's the point, not control, companionship. You will still snap sometimes. You will still chase stories into alleys. You will still wake at 2:40 with a thought wearing a wolf costume. Then you will run the two-bridge return, the somatic scribe or off-ramp light. You will stand on your sandbar, lower your voice and say, let me restart that. You will walk your greenhouse, keep your bead jar honest, and put your phone behind a doorman who respects your life. You will take the middle marker in the middle of a sentence or a meeting. You will ask the one honest question. You will trust the smallest wise action. It will not look cinematic. It will look like dignity. Make one last promise to your nervous system that you can keep on your worst day. 1 minute of stillness in any doorway you pass. Door touch, exhale to 6, blades in the shelf. Workable now, smallest wise action. That's your universal adapter. Hotel door, office door, bedroom door, car door. Let your hand teach your lungs. Let your lungs teach your mouth. Let your mouth teach your life. Before we close, build a small altar to your North Star. Nothing fancy. A sticky note with your word. A stone from a walk. A line of music. Place it where your hand lands when you start your day. Ritual, not rule. Gesture, not grind. When chaos knocks, you'll look up and see your star. Then you'll feel your jaw, you'll widen your gaze, you'll exhale, you'll choose, you'll return. Breathe with me once more. Inhale through the nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Let your eyes rest on the far line. Feel the floor through your heels like coins settling. Notice the cool at your upper lip, the warmth inside your cheeks. Whisper, safe enough. Ask, smallest wise action now. Then stand or sit and do it. The room doesn't have to change for you to move like the room you want to live in. You are not the storm. You are the room with windows and a witness chair and a steering wheel you can find in the dark. You are the awareness, not the emotion. And the power of stillness is not a trick you learned. It is a language your body speaks now. Keep speaking it, and the world will feel more like a place you can inhabit and less like a test you must outrun. You're ready.